always like to go to if we plan this correctly. Not a lot of women say that, not a lot of men offer that. Men are looking for long-term relationships, even though women don't believe that. It is true that men are looking for long-term relationships. They're looking for the last person, not the next. Women are looking for the next payday, not the long-term inheritance of a man who's dedicated his whole life to her standard of living. The dynamics are wrong. So the fact is, because we're looking for the wrong things, we end up in the wrong position in these relationships. And this ultimately leads most relationships to feel unsatisfied, because what you're getting, you chose that, but it's not what you realize that you wanted. Once the hype of the wasteful spending stops, once the hype of the new sex partner stops, and normal life kicks in, allegedly coming out of that honeymoon phase, you find yourself in a position where this might not be what you're looking for. All the bad choices led up to this. Now you have to figure out how to fix it or abandon ship on it. More often than not, 1 year, 5 months, 6 days in, and you find yourself, somebody's abandoning ship because this isn't what we was expecting. You're going to find yourself in situations where you feel like a project, not a partner. And you're stuck in this agonizing loop of wanting connections, but you feel fundamentally unready for it. And that feeling is inadequacy that just digs the hole of loneliness even deeper. And you're waiting for someone to show up and throw you a rope to pull you out of that emotional quicksand and your financial mess as a result. Oh, Joe, I appreciate you, Joseph. Y'all need to make sure that y'all like and subscribe, bro. I got a lot of information for y'all on this, because this isn't one of those red pill, blue pill, black pill podcasts where we're just going to sit here and bash women all day long. Fact of the matter is that the reason why 77% of Americans are poor, and the reason why the largest majority of the population is unhappy with the dating field, is because everybody's got it wrong as to what they're supposed to be looking for versus what they deserve, what they're supposed to be bringing to the table versus what they're supposed to be expecting off of this deal. And since everyone's after the wrong thing, we're getting the wrong thing. We're getting what we asked for, but we're getting the wrong thing. And then we're unsatisfied, and then we dip out of the relationship, or the other person dips out of a relationship, because typically men treat relationships like working on old cars. We will keep trying to fix this. We'll keep dumping money into it. We'll keep putting effort into it, and we'll keep trying to fix it until we get to a point where we realize no matter how much I put into this relationship, it'll never start working the way I want it to work. The same way, no matter how much money I keep putting into this old car, it will never start and run the way I want it to run. And that's after we've run out of money, after we've run out of ideas, after we've run out of options, we can't modify it, tweak it, upgrade it, or do nothing else to it. That's when we give up on it and we move on to another vehicle. The same way, that's when we'll give up on that relationship and we'll move on to another vehicle. That's not the same as women. You have a probation period in her mind that's never projected to you in the relationship. And if the relationship does not make it to certain levels by a certain period of time, she is out the door. You are fired from that relationship before you can even fix it, because she never told you what was wrong. And half the time, women don't even know what's wrong. So this isn't a situation where we're going to sit over here and talk shit about the women, because this is about the men. This is about helping the men become better men, and not only becoming higher value men by your financial status, but becoming higher value men by your decision making. Because emotional intelligence doesn't just come from going to a therapist and fixing your feelings. It comes from detaching lust and desire from your decision-making skills so that you can focus on what is best for you as a man, and then standing on that no matter how hot she looks, no matter what nasty things she's willing to do for you in the bedroom, no matter how much she thinks that her education and her income will bring value to your life. If you're not investing in what you're supposed to be investing in, using her money in your household, then her 50% doesn't matter. And if she's not coming up with solutions that's going to aid you with your problems, then her education doesn't matter. Because your life is dedicated to building a castle that she will inherit upon your passing. And her efforts is supposed to make that castle the most thriving kingdom that she possibly can. And if she's not willing to do that, if she's just going to ride your coattails, bro, you just picked the wrong person. if she's going to be one of the backup dancers like MC Hammer, he went bankrupt because out of all the people on that stage, how many people helped him pay the IRS? He was paying for folks that got out of jail and couldn't find a job, and not now one of them helped him get that $800,000. $53 million he burned through, but 800,000 people, ain't nobody gave him a dollar to help pay the IRS. Fact is, we're not focusing on the right shit. That's the problem. So I appreciate you subscribing, and I encourage more people to do, especially you, Amanda Cole, like and subscribe to the channel, because you might actually learn something here. And I know a lot of stuff I'm going to say, ladies, are going to be like, oh yeah, you know, he's misogynistic, and I'll take that, because at the end of the day, a person that wants to grow and better themselves is not going to attack the messenger. They're going to listen to the message. They're going to do some research. They're going to reinforce that knowledge. And then if you're going to have a rebuttal, your rebuttal is going to be directly to the message, not the messenger. So if your response to my information is, oh, he's misogynistic, he's bitter, he's this, that, and the third, him, you're not paying attention to the message. And those people, I don't really care what they got to say. But if you're coming back with some facts, if you're coming back with some logic, if you're coming back with some information that for some reason I didn't know, oh, I'm all ears. You don't have to agree with me to be on this channel. You can completely disagree with me on this channel, and I encourage it. But when you disagree with me on this channel, I strongly encourage you to back that up with some factual information. If you just feel like I'm wrong because what I said triggered you, and I don't even know who you are, you were doom scrolling through your YouTube channel, and I just so happen to pop up, and now you're listening to me, I'm going to call that fate. And if that hurt your feelings, it's your responsibility to learn from it and grow from it so that what I say doesn't hurt your feelings no more. Because if it didn't apply to you, it wouldn't hurt your feelings. If it didn't trigger you, you wouldn't have nothing negative to say about it because it didn't apply to you, right? So here's a secret that no one tells you guys. Healthy, stable people are not looking for a project to fix in their relationship. So if you're dating a chick, you're driving her to work, and I'm talking about like y'all just met, if y'all hooked up just now, that's it, and y'all are in a scenario where before y'all even move in together, you start driving her to work. I ain't got no knocks on y'all ladies, because I'm gonna flip the script and use the same thing. This is a savior complex where you are literally superimposing yourself into the other person's position and aiding them with whatever they are struggling with, even if they could have done it on their own. Ladies, flip the script. You're dating a dude. He's always walking. You don't know where he's walking to. You give him the keys to your car. He's driving your car around, bringing it back with no gas in it. Savior complex. He didn't need the car because before he met you, he didn't have a car. He doesn't need your car, but he'll benefit from it. You give him the keys, he'll drive that bitch wherever you and have a bunch of people in it. Savior complex. But if you were not with a savior complex, you would not give two shits about the fact that he's walking. He's walking, he's walking. Right? So healthy, stable people are not looking for a project to fix. They're looking for a partner that they're going to build with. Somebody who's taking your car and burning all the gas out of your car and bringing it back on E is not benefiting you. You're not growing from that. That's actually costing you more money. You know, that rope that you're waiting for, it's already in your hands to pull yourself out of that situation. Just like footprints in the sand. You know, when you look back and you see one set of footprints, that's because half of the time I was carrying you, and you have to half of the time you was able to carry yourself, but you're always going to look back and see one set of trails, right? A self-made man is not self-made. A self-made man took advantage of the opportunities that was offered to him by the people who saw him trying. Okay? But a self-made man is not a man that sat there and waited for a handout. A self-made man is always looking for another way to succeed. And once they do their calculations, do their research, and they find out how successful they could potentially be in this, they put all of their effort into that success. Right? So in tonight's show, we're going to break down 5 brutal truths about why getting your own emotional and financial house in order is a non-negotiable expectation for the first steps to finding a healthy, lasting, and loving relationship that you actually deserve. So this isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. It's about building a life that you are also in love with, that a partner would become a wonderful addition to, not a desperate requirement. So if you guys are ready to stop waiting to be rescued and start becoming your own hero, you guys need to stay tuned to this. There goes Miss Claudia. How you doing, Miss Ma'am? It's good to see you. It's been a while since you've been able to dive in. We've been starting on time all year. I broke the streak. We went from 30 minutes behind to early as bejesus. I got to see how I'm going to handle that for daylight savings time. Love thyself first. Well, yes, in a way, it is love thyself first, but really, you got to love the situation that you're in first. Truth be told, because you as a person doesn't necessarily have to be in love with yourself and still recognize that you got too much chaos in your life right now to maintain a relationship. Take, for example, you did some stuff you wasn't supposed to do, and now you got to go to court. You got to finish with that before you call yourself getting into a relationship, because how are you going to start that date with an ankle monitor on, right? You got to, sometimes you got to finish the chaos in your past before you start something new. Take those. We got a lot of women that come to the show that they would prefer a man who doesn't have kids, and I don't blame them. But imagine if on the first date you find out that the dude that you're talking to is having a very bad custody battle, and most of his time is in family court. That's not good for a new relationship either. Let's think about women that's got baby daddy drama, where they're not in court on a regular basis, but the ex is always at the house on a regular basis. And the children are loving the father, but the father and the mother are always fighting whenever the man come over. You as a man can't get in the middle of them children and they daddy. But you as a man want to step in between the mom and the father. That's not a good position for you to be in. So a lot of times you have to fix the chaos in your life first. If you're going into bankruptcy, now's not the time to go dating, right? You got to get your life in order first. So it's not just about loving yourself. Loving yourself is part of it, but you got to fix your own failures before you start looking for other people. Because when you take on another partner, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. When you take on a partner, you take on an extra financial liability. Plain and simple. Yes, traditionally men are supposed to take care of women, but those women that do have jobs, that have a man that they want to make sure doesn't fall off, will see him in a financial bind and put some money towards that. Whether it's changing a tire, putting gas in the car, buying him a new outfit for work, picking up some extra groceries, whatever. So pay for his traffic ticket, put money on his son pass, pay for some of the subscription, catch the phone bill because he forgot it, whatever. Something that she otherwise would not have had to pay for because she's in this relationship. And this is before children are involved. She's going to voluntarily pay for as a woman committed to the relationship. So no matter what man or woman, that when you take on an extra person in your life, you're taking on an extra financial liability. Now, once you guys come together and y'all decide to start utilizing y'all's income more effectively, you start becoming an asset to one another. So with that question that comes in, it hurts all the women's feelings who don't really know what they bring to the table. You ask them what a woman brings to the table. They say their looks and their education. Well, no, they don't say their looks, because looks are obvious. They say their education and their career. But truth be told, they're not willing to put more than 50% on the table. That's because they don't know what they're supposed to bring to the table, because nobody taught them. They usually get, and they don't have to earn it. So when you're like, well, shit, well, what the fuck do you want me to do? And that's an interesting question, because what woman has ever asked a man, what do you want me to do to be successful in this relationship? Typically, the man is always asking, what do I got to do to make you happy? But how many women have ever asked a man, what do I got to do to make you happy? Then here's another question, ladies. And this is really interesting. And then now that I got a woman on the show, I want to ask this question real quick before you disappear on me. How many men have you dated that, I don't care how many men you've dated, how many men that you've dated that got with you, and became better in their life financially. They built stuff. And when you left, they are more successful now that you're gone. How many relationships have you had where you left him with more than what you came into the relationship with? Usually, okay, look at that. One, and you are primarily in your 30s. So that's one more than most women. Out of all, and when you think about all the men you've dated, all the men you slept with, you start looking at a fraction, one over whatever that number is. Now, every woman that a man gets with, he builds her up. Even if he doesn't do it emotionally, he builds her up. He pays for stuff that he doesn't have to pay because she's got a job. He volunteers for this shit. He pays for, he buys her things that he doesn't have to buy. So she's walking away with jewelry, teddy bears. Sometimes they're going away with a car. That some girls get the house. Like if she moved in with him, he might not take the house. He might say, look, you keep the house, you keep the apartment. I'll go find my own place and I'll start over. More often than not, in a breakup, the man disappears and starts over. Sometimes a woman will disappear and start over with a new man, and what she takes is most of the stuff that he bought for her. So it's hers. But more often than not, she leaves and the man has the same amount of stuff or far less. Usually it's far less. Usually it's about 41% less than what he started with. And then the man has to start over. So we're going to be talking about this today, about how you have to not just start over emotionally. You got to start over financially and get your shit in order before you get into that next relationship. But let's go ahead and get to her question, because she has a question. My question is, how do you let go of the past when the past is still present? And that's a fantastic question, which completely lines up with what we're talking about today. First and foremost, your past is not the past if your past is still the present, but technically everything in your present is in the past. The emotional bond that you have with the other person is not going to go away just because y'all have a conversation and agree that we're not going to be involved with one another anymore. It will take you months, if not years, to emotionally detach from the other person. Usually, there's an endorphin that is released during sexual contact that is a bonding chemical, and that's one of the reasons why everybody starts being whores. The more people you sleep with, ridiculously, the less bond you had towards your partner, because that bonding element links to multiple different people. Destroys your value as a woman, but as a man, you get more experience and you detach yourself emotionally from the last woman. I don't recommend it. You say it's been 8 years since y'all parted. Did he die? Because if he did, you're never going to let that go. If y'all just broke up and he's still alive, what are you holding on to? That's a very, what are you holding on to? The memories. Okay, so he had a child with your sister. Oh, this is good. Not for you, but for the sake of discussion. So I don't understand how that rolled out, but he will always be around. You will always have negative feelings towards what happened with the betrayal from your sister and the betrayal from him. You not removing yourself from this situation will prevent you from healing. Oh, that's not even a Jerry Springer situation, because you know who the father is. He said that topic is for Sunday night. You're right, sir. That is exactly right. This is a Sunday night topic. But let's touch base with this real quick, because the moving on part is part of today's show. He got a child for your sister, so he cheated on you with your sister, and y'all broke up, right? What has to happen now? And this happened 8 years ago. What had to happen, which what didn't happen, is that you need a vacation from them. Those Harley Quinn romance series, yes, sir. And what you have to do is you have to detach yourself from them. 6 months, a year, whatever. You have to, talk to your sister on the phone. Hey, how are you? I'm alive, and just stop. Sitting there every day. No, you don't need to get revenge. But that's what that feeling right there. That's the feeling that is harbored in her heart. And honest to God, I got nothing against women with this feeling, but they dwell on revenge, which is one of the reasons why when a woman leaves a man usually has less than what he started with, because whatever she doesn't take, she tries to destroy him to make her feel better about how hurt she is in this situation. Women take pain a lot worse than men because women don't get pain as much as men. Men get beat down their whole life. They're talked down to and devalued by their mothers and their sisters throughout their childhood. Then they're talked down and devalued by the girls in their schools throughout their teenage years. Then they're talked down and devalued by the women in their society, in college, in the workplace, and the dating game. And then the man is like 40 something years old. He's been rejected for 40 years. Men learn how to take that pain and keep pushing because women expect it, society expects it. Women are not told no as many times in their lives as a man is told no. Women are not shut down as often as a man is shut down in their life. And a woman is not embarrassed by her efforts the way a man is embarrassed by his efforts in his life all the time. So what happens is that women don't know how to handle it, and they respond with get revenge. Men just let it go and keep moving. It's like it happened and it happened. She said, I think my thoughts that I'll be better when my last kid turns 18. Why does your last kid have to turn? So you got a kid with him 8 years ago. She got a kid with your baby daddy. So y'all got cousin siblings. Whew. Men replace women. No, well, yeah, men are gonna just walk away from that situation. Emotionally, what has to happen here? It's not so much waiting until he gets your children get 18. What has to happen here is that you have to emotionally detach from the situation. You feel better about the fact that you did not get your comeuppance once you found out that he got your sister pregnant. The betrayal that you have from I don't know why you've been talking to them for the last 8 years. I would have took a vacation. I would have took a 2 to 4 year vacation where when I did come back, I don't feel nothing about it. Because just like a breakup, you need space and you need time, and there's no time limit. There's no time limit on that space and that time. If you still feel bitter when you go over to your sister's house every time you look at that child, and you know that child was created while you was in a relationship with the child's father, walk out and go back home. I can't when I have to keep communication with him for the kids. No, you don't. Okay, so here's the thing. And this is going to go into a child support conversation, but I'm gonna touch base on this for the sake of you, as the mother of the children, have a duty to tell the dad what the kids need and what the kids don't have. It is his responsibility to decide what he's going to do about that. Outside of any court orders for child support, you are supposed to put your best efforts towards making sure that the kids have what they need. And then if he shows up with anything, you just appreciate that and you let him go. There is nothing there that requires him and you to talk about shit. If the kids need a doctor's appointment, you let him know before you schedule the appointment that the kids need a doctor's appointment, and you can send that to him in an email or a text message. You can send it to an email. The more distance you put between him and you, the better it is. You send him an email. You let him know these are the appointments that the kids are going to have in the upcoming month. Does he agree to that? Yes or no? That's it. This is the stuff that the kids need: school supplies, medications, clothes, whatever. Are you going to help with some of this? Yes or no? And then whatever he decides to do about that, he does that. Y'all don't have to talk after that. How has your week been? This, that, and the third. Bro, you can do a status report and just put it in the email. This is what happened with Lil Jimmy. This is what happened with Lil Jill. And this is This is the updates and the kids. Fuck, you got visitation. Come and see your damn kids and ask the kids how they doing. What is you worrying about me? 8 years old, because you said this was 8 years ago. 8 years old. Your 8-year-old should be able to tell him how his week went. Go talk to your daddy and tell your daddy how the week went. He ain't got to come talk to me about that. I should only have to tell him what he got to pay for, because that is the full dynamic of y'all's engagement with one another. It ain't got to, y'all don't have to be friends. Y'all got to make sure that the kids got what they need. It's got a field trip, you let them know there's a field trip coming up. How much of that you gonna put towards it? Summer camp's coming up. How much you gonna put towards it? And if he respond with, I ain't got it, don't say nothing else. There is no other communication that you need in that situation. So Michael says, oh, she does, court orders it. No, the court does not order you guys to talk to one another. Y'all voluntarily talk to one another, because when a court gets involved, you got case managers, you got guardian ad litems involved, you can talk to a third person, you got attorneys involved, you can talk to somebody who can talk to the person that needs to be talked to. So you don't got to talk to dad directly. You got 2, 3, 5 other people who can pass the word along and tell dad what dad needs to know. You ain't got to talk to dad. You choose to talk to dad. He said, would you or would you not try rat meat? You need to go sit down somewhere. I know he laughing at that, but he just got banned for asking a stupid ass question during the show when we talk about something important. It's so bad we have OFW. Daddy don't live with us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Any woman that's not alienating her child from her father, from the child's father, is not going to care whether or not the father lives with the child. What matters is that she tells the father what the father needs to know about the kids, and let the man decide what he's going to do about that. She's going to run this as issue as if he's not there, and then at the end of the day, his involvement is his involvement. But that got nothing to do with you two having to be friendly with one another. It has nothing to do with that. You can still distance yourself from this man, short him coming to get your kids, because when he comes to get the kids, he does not have to wait in the living room to talk to you if you still have emotional issues from the past. He can wait in the car, and you can walk the kids out to the car, put them in the car, and let him take the kids. And then he can text you that he's coming back, and you can stand on the porch and come and get the kids, or leave the door open and let the kids walk themselves back. Or he can walk the kids to the door, and he can stay outside, and you can stay inside. And y'all can keep this as COVID protocols when it comes down to engaging one another. There's no reason why you are dwelling on the past, outside of the fact that you have never taken time out of your life to address it emotionally, and you have never taken time out of your life to heal from it, and you have not distanced yourself appropriately from the situation to be able to reflect on self-improvement, so that you will not be emotionally bound to the past. You're every time you look at your baby daddy, you're going to be pissed off, and every time you look at your sister, you're going to be pissed off. Every time you look at your niece and nephew, you're going to be pissed off, because that's your child's half sibling. You have to remove yourself from the situation long enough for you to remove your emotions from the situation, and then you can cope better, because you got to understand the emotional damage that you are suppressing is negatively impacting the children, your kids and your sister's kids, and how those kids interact with one another, because they got the same daddy and 2 different mamas, and all of them are related to one another, and y'all got to be able to interact with each other while you maintain your emotional stability. You're not sacrificing your own emotional stability for the sake of somebody else's satisfaction. Fuck somebody else's satisfaction. Your non-negotiable expectations are that you are happy in this situation. And you can only be so happy in this situation because your man's child is your child's sibling. Your sister's child is your child's sibling. So you can only get so happy in this situation, but you got to change that. He says you get monthly money for the kids. Why keep asking? You shouldn't be getting money for the kids. You should be able to send them a bill. The truth be told, a lot of people believe that child support is supposed to automatically come where the woman's got the child and the man is supposed to pay the child support. But truth be told, matter of fact, I'm glad you said that, Michael. Ma'am, if you really want to get away from this, all you have to do is give your sister the child and let him take care of his fucking child, and then you pay child support. Then so he can send you an email and let you know what's going on with the kids. You can come visit the kids on the weekend. You can trust her not to kill your child, and you can just get a child to the daddy and let the daddy deal with it, because the siblings are still siblings. but you emotionally detach from this situation. Women choose to keep the children because it is socially expected. And because it is socially expected, there is no reason why women has ever thought, I don't need to primarily be the parent in this situation. You know what I mean? She said, the pickups at Quiet Trip. I haven't talked to my sister in 2 years, and you shouldn't talk to the baby daddy for 2 years. So I don't get child support. You don't need it. You don't need it. But if the situation is that tough and you need a break, for example, your kids is in school right now. Summer's coming up. Summer's coming up. Talk to the baby daddy. Tell him that when school let out, you got the kids until school start. Straight up. Now you've got a guaranteed 3-month vacation. He gonna come get them kids, and you're not gonna take them back until fall. Literally the day before school starts. And you got 3 months away from him and away from her. You can find ways. You can let dad celebrate all the birthday parties over there, and then you can just do something nice for the kids on their birthday, wish them happy birthday, cook them their favorite meal, because especially if you got boys, you got to understand, boys don't need much. Boys don't need much the same way men don't need much, because boys and men are the same systemic, that we come from a position where if we get acknowledged, appreciated, and valued, that's really it. So if dad's buying all kinds of cool toys and mom made my favorite meal, fuck that toy. That's my favorite meal. You know what I mean? So, oh yeah, I could play with my favorite toy after dinner, but my mom made my favorite meal. When I get tired of playing with that toy, my mom still made my favorite meal. Dad can't compete with that, and he shouldn't be competing, but dad can't compete with that, because the stuff that I value is not going to be that toy. It's going to be, if you know, my mama used to go to the store when I was young. I loved Rice Krispies. Everybody who grew up in that generation where Rice Krispies were everywhere. My mom would go to the store. I didn't go with her a lot of the times, and she would come back with a king size Rice Krispie treat. No matter what she got, she would come back with a king size Rice Krispie treat. I didn't have to ask for nothing. I didn't have to say anything. After I found out mom came home, I would go out to the car and I would take all the groceries out of the car, and I would drag these groceries weighing more than I am into the house, and then spend the next 30 minutes putting all the groceries away. And by the time I got to the last bag, I would find that Rice Krispie treat. I didn't give a damn about nothing else. I got the Rice Krispie treat. My brother got a video game console. I got a Rice Krispie treat. You're going to say, oh, your parents didn't love you. Yeah. But I got my own car, motorcycle, 2 houses, 3 jobs. My sibling don't have none of that. I was taught how to earn what I want and appreciate what I get. My sibling was taught to get what you ask for. There's a big difference in the dynamic. So pay attention to the little things, because the little things impact the children, and the little things are the difference between making a good man and a great man. I know your question was, I'm gonna get to that, because you say your question is, why do you still care about what he says? Because you still love him. That's why. You have not detached from him. Your bond with him has not changed, because even though he has moved on in his relationship status, he has not moved on in your life. And you may never stop loving him. It'll hurt a lot less. It'll hurt a lot less. You're never going to stop loving him. That's the father of your children. And your relationship ended abruptly because you were not willing to tolerate being the other woman in a relationship that he had with your sister. If y'all were in Dubai, y'all would be sharing the same baby daddy. If he can afford to pay for both of y'all, the 3 of y'all would be living in the same house with kids. and nobody would be complaining. But in American culture, women are taught to be selfish about resources and keep the man all to themselves. And if she can't have him by herself, then she will give her provider away to another woman and let that woman benefit from her provider. But we also recognize in this same society that women also do not have the mental capacity to put up with a man's bullshit for 30 full days. So I'm trying to figure out why don't y'all share the same man appropriately? Because at least 2 to 3 weeks out the month, you don't really want to deal with him. So why don't you just tag in another female and let her deal with him? He's always satisfied because one of y'all is going to deal with him. And y'all are always satisfied because he's paying for all of y'all. And y'all not fighting over him because he can afford all of y'all. She said, oh my gosh, that's so funny. But that's realistic. And then when we start talking about American culture, we're looking at the fact that individuals that are making $30,000, $40,000 a year, you need, especially when you start adding kids involved, you need 3 incomes. Each person making $45,000 a year, that's $130,000 across 3 kids. That's a family of 5, right? Family of 6. 3 kids, 3 wives, 1 man. Okay? And likewise, y'all could take 2 of those incomes. Y'all could put that towards taking care of everybody. Take 1 of those incomes, put that up in a high interest savings account, and y'all could end up having $2.9 million over the next 10 to 20 years, where the kids' college would be paid for. All of y'all would be traveling the world. Y'all would not have to worry about money. Y'all would not have to worry about debt. And if y'all engage each other respectfully, this is one of the reasons why polygamy is starting to become a thing. It's because if a group of people get together and they don't fight, even in romance, that y'all could find yourselves a better foundation. But truthfully, from a monogamous perspective, monogamy benefits women more than it benefits men because it limits the men's ability to reproduce. And the fact is that in monogamy, it is expected for every man is 1 woman. And if the woman is pissed off that the man has more than 1 woman, then the woman will get rid of the man, and then the woman will do it by herself, what the man was doing for her. I don't get it. Now, if a woman has more than 1 man, the man is supposed to beat up the other man and take his woman back. I don't understand that dynamic neither. Because every woman says, oh, well, you should forgive me. But for every woman that believes that she can cheat on her boyfriend or her husband, and the man is supposed to forgive her, the dynamic is, he cheated on you with your sister, why can't you forgive him? The betrayal is why. The betrayal is unforgivable. So since the betrayal is unforgivable, best thing that you can do is remove yourself from the situation until you can remove your emotions from the situation. Limited, minimalistic contact. If every time you see him, your heart hurts, don't look at him no more. Let him stay outside. You send the kids out there to him. When he come back, you let the kids come inside. You watch the kids through the window. Don't look at him. Don't talk to him. Send him an email. Don't send him a text message. Don't let him call you. Let him go to voicemail, read the text message, and then send him a response to the email. Don't follow him on social media. Nothing. I promise you, the less time you spend with him, the faster you'll heal. All right, let's get back to our main topic. Because your issue with letting go is specifically because you've never taken the opportunity to. That's the only way. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight, whether it's 3 months, 6 months from now. From today, when I tell you this, till to the day that you start doing it, you're going to have that nothing happens scenario. But from the day you start doing this until the day you get over it, might be a year. But this time next year, you'll be like, damn, I stopped talking to him. I only communicated with him through email, and outside of that, I didn't talk to him, and I feel great now. You might actually find yourself somebody else, because the other issue you have is that you're lonely because your man is with another woman. You might find you somebody else because you're not fighting with this relationship. You can focus on the men that are actually hitting on you and wanting to be the stepdad to your baby daddy's kids. And in that dynamic, you would be able to have that love and affection from somebody so that you don't feel like you gave up on that love and affection for the sake of your sister. But 8 years ago is a long time to be harboring anything. You got to let go. Now, the first and most important scenario to the brutal truth is that you're treating your relationship like a rescue raft, which is what we got going on right here with not letting go of the last relationship. Consciously or subconsciously, you're going to believe that a partner will be the magic solution for all of your problems. And that's not always okay. If you're feeling lonely, you expect a partner to fix that. Feeling broke, a stable partner will fix that. Feeling lost, a relationship will give you purpose, but that's not true. You're not really looking for a person to share your already great life with. You are looking for a survivor to come in and build your life for you, to give you the life that you're looking for. So let's be honest about what this looks like. This is a daydream about a partner paying off your credit card debt. It's that little voice saying, I'll finally get a nice apartment when I can split the rent. It's the ache of emptiness on a Saturday night that you think can only be filled by someone else. Oh, I wish I had somebody I could cuddle with. It's cold right now. I wish I had somebody who was here to keep me warm. Turn up the fucking heat. Hug your dog. Hug your cat. If you don't have a dog or a cat, go get one from the pound. You got a bunch of dogs and cats that have been mistreated by their past owner. And you can give them all the love and affection that your ex didn't give you. Plain and simple. Now, in these situations, you are outsourcing your happiness. You're outsourcing your own financial discipline. You are outsourcing your emotional stability to a hypothetical partner. And a lot of times, just like in Claudia's situation, you're accidentally outsourcing to your ex. And that's the reason why you haven't let go, because there is subconsciously in your mind a thought. What if he leave her and come back to me and I get back what I lost? That is always running through your mind, whether you admit it or not. That is always running through your mind, and that's why you're not able to let go. When you get to the magnitude, and what people typically do is they turn the sadness from that not happening into anger and project it on the other person and start treating them like shit. So I don't recommend that. But when you stop thinking maybe he'll come back and start thinking I don't want him to come back, you will stop feeling bad about the fact that he's not here. Plain and simple. And that's not an easy thing to do, but on paper, that's a plain and simple mind shift change. But in this scenario, when we start replacing our next person with our last person, you're essentially trying to hire an unpaid life coach, a therapist, a financial planner, or you're disguising the job application as a dating profile. And the consequences of this is devastating to your love life, because when you approach dating with this type of energy, you're radiating neediness, and this can be observed by the other person. It's an invisible but powerful vibe that healthy, self-sufficient people can sense from a mile away, and they will avoid that. They will run from that situation. Why do you think that is? It's because a relationship built on need isn't a partnership. It's a hostage situation. And that's one of the reasons why men do not want women to want what the man has financially. The women want a man to want him, or the men want a woman to want the man because of who the man is. But unfortunately, before a woman finds out what a man has to offer based on his character and his personality, she first evaluates his employment, his income, and his social status. If you don't get past employment, income, and social status, she will never find out what kind of character you have. She'll never find out what kind of social status, what kind of personality you have, which also means she's not there for who he really is. She's there for what he's capable of doing for her. Whether it's becoming more popular, connections to better network, financial stability, resources, a car that she didn't have to buy, a house she doesn't have to pay for, groceries she don't have to pay for. That's what ends up happening, because the observations are skewed. And it creates an unhealthy parent-child dynamic as well, where one person is the designated adult, and that is not romantic. It's just exhausting. Healthy people want somewhat of what is considered an equal who can stand on their own 2 feet when the primary person isn't there and add to the relationship, not just drain the resources that are provided by the primary person. Even worse, this rescue fantasy makes you a magnet for the wrong person, because you'll either attract other unstable people, creating a codependent mess where you're both just clinging on to each other for survival, or more dangerously, you'll attract predators and manipulators who see your neediness as a perfect opportunity for control. And this happens on both sides of the fence, because a man who's performing this way will find a woman that's predatory towards his resources. A woman who is in this situation could find a man that's predatory, even much so towards her resources, but also more than that, because the other person is going to promise to be your savior while slowly chipping away at your independence, leaving you even more lost than before you started. So, what's the fix? It's a powerful mindset shift from dependency to self reliance. It starts with deciding to become the person you're looking for. Now, excuse me, I know that women have been doing this for a long period of time, because a lot of women have become the self they've become independent, not just self-sufficient, because self-sufficiency is holding down the fort until reinforcements arrive. Independence is self-sustainable and sacrificing of the rest of the team in order to come on top. And women have become more independent than self-sufficient. But on top of that, they have got their educations, which is perfectly fine. They've got their careers, which is perfectly fine. And then they change their mindset to they don't need a man, because they've become the man that they wanted. Or instead of finding an equal where they accept a man that is capable of doing what she is doing for herself, she instead looks for a man that can do more than what she is doing. So after the woman has become the perfect man in her life, she then looks for a man that's better than that. Unrealistic expectations. If you can do it, someone else can. But if you can't do it for yourself, why are you holding the expectations to your partner to do more for you than what you can do for yourself? That's not an equal. You want to be treated as an equal, you have to either find somebody who can't do as much as you and have them build themselves up to do as much as you, or find somebody that's doing just as much as you, and you're able to allow them to do it because they're able to do exactly what you're doing. It's just like when you get trained for a position on a job, your trainer stays with you until they can see that you can do the job just as good as they did the job, if not better. And once they believe that you can do it, they step back and they let you do it on your own. Just like when you start performing the jobs of a manager before you get promoted, managers see your ability to perform. They give you a promotion to team leader. They give you a promotion to the managerial position because you showed that you could handle this responsibility, so they can back down off of that responsibility and give it to you. When you find the right man, he is able to make the same decisions that you would have made, or similar decisions that you would have made, or better decisions than what you would have made. And when you can trust his judgment, you put him in charge of making decisions. Now you can focus on something else. And this isn't about being barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Because if you were in the type of relationship where y'all were investing in your future, you could be following the stock options. You can be following the investment opportunities, and he could be paying for the day-to-day operations and making sure that the house doesn't fall apart. 50-50 isn't 50-50. 50-50 is typically 60-40, where 60% of it's being done by one person and 40% of it's being done by another. And the extra 60% of the second person's life is going towards something else that's going to benefit the relationship, where the first person is doing 40% of that. It's not 50-50. It's never going to be 50-50, but it is reasonably enough that I don't feel overwhelmed, and it's reasonably enough that you don't feel overwhelmed in any one situation. And this is true because if you're in situations where you want emotional stability, you must learn to regulate your own emotions. Just like I was telling Claudia, you have to remove yourself from an emotionally and powerful scenario where you are negatively impacted by the environment that you're in without anything bad ever happening. You need to remove yourself from that dynamic until you can heal emotionally. And then when you come back to that dynamic, you're not negatively impacted by that. Say you work in a fast food restaurant, you get fired from the job, you hate your boss, you hate all the people that work there, but enough time away from that job, you can go back to that same company and order something to eat and not feel nothing about it. But if you go to that restaurant every day after you're fired, they'll trespass you, call police on you, all kinds of stuff because you're emotionally still attached to the job. You're going to behave negatively on the premises, and that's going to be bad for you. If you detach yourself from it, let your emotions heal. When you do come back, you don't feel nothing. How long that's going to take, I don't know. You might have to get to a therapist and talk to a therapist about it. But once you get past it, you'll be okay. Because you're never going to get over it. You have to get past it to the magnitude where you can function through the pain. You can function in spite of the pain. And then over time, the pain won't bother you as much. It's still going to be there because this is really close to home. This isn't just like sleeping with your best friend situation. This is really close to home. But it is not going to impact you as much. But 8 years in and you talk about 18, 10 more years, you still going to feel bitter about this. You still going to feel bitter about this. And you're going to be known as the angry aunt. It ain't the kid's fault. But if you're in a situation where you want someone financially secure, you need to start taking control of your own finances. You ladies need to start investing in stocks, bonds, real estate. Y'all need to start looking at the market and trying to find, look, 5 years left. Shit. You should have retired. You should have emotionally retired after the baby was born. After his second child was born, you should have emotionally retired. You should not have been involved with them emotionally. And now that you know there's all kinds of shit that you can do. All kinds of shit that you can do. Like real talk. You got the capability. I just told you, real talk. You'd have had primary custody for the largest majority of this child's life. You can be the bigger woman, give him primary custody of the child, and come and visit whenever you miss your child. That's it. Or whenever your child call you, mommy, I miss you, come back, come see me, whatever. Sure. I just want you to spend some time with your daddy so that you and your daddy can bond more. That's it. That's it. And because he's got the child, he don't got to talk to you. You can be gone for 3 to 6 months. Look, there you go. So if you gave him the child, guess what? Fuck, you only talking to the kid on the weekend. I'm gonna pay for my child's cell phone so I can call my child directly. I ain't gotta talk to the daddy. I can video call my child and see my child. I ain't gotta talk to the daddy. When I want to see my child in person, then I'm gonna send the daddy an email and I'm gonna schedule an appointment. If I want the child to come and spend time with me for the weekend, I'm gonna send dad an email. He'll drop off the child for the weekend. That's the only time we connect with one another. So since I had the child at first, you can have the child now. I shouldn't see y'all till August. It's January, and I shouldn't see y'all till August. Give yourself some time to heal. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Because otherwise, you're gonna be a nervous wreck. You're gonna this hypervigilance is gonna fester in you. That's gonna cause ulcers. It's gonna cause high levels of stress, anxiety, depression. That's gonna cause you to have excessive high levels of stress that leads to memory loss, short-term memory loss. You're gonna start developing symptoms that's gonna cause you to go to the doctor more often with more medical bills. You're gonna have more medication that's gonna cause you with side effects of the medication, more health issues that you're gonna go to the doctor more for when you really could just take you a vacation. And a vacation isn't spending money on a trip. A vacation is just go home from work and just sleep in a house with no crying, no fighting, and no ex coming to your house with an excuse to come see you talking about he coming to see the child. You ain't got to come see me. Take him with you. Let me know what you need. I'll mail it to you. Plain and simple. Because Amazon, Temu, Walmart.com all have is this a gift as the option on the closing cart. So you can literally buy whatever the hell they need and ship it to the house, and you ain't got to tell them shit. They can give you a wish list. They can give you, y'all know about this because when y'all was pregnant and y'all did the wish list on Target for the baby shower, he could put up a wish list online of all the shit he wish he had for his child, and you could just buy it and send it to him. He ain't even got to talk to you. You can just have a link to the wish list and just buy it and send it to him as you can get it. If the child wants something for Christmas, if the child wants something for their birthday, you can gift wrap it in a big old custom gift wrap that says "Mama bought this" and mail it to them. UPS, FedEx, put the child's name on it and address it to the child. UPS, FedEx. Then when they get it, they know that it came from you. This isn't about being perfect. It's about taking responsibility for yourself. Okay? Not the other person. Because we can't control what other people do. All we can do is deal with that. We got to spend more time controlling the stuff that is inside of our control and navigate around the stuff that's outside of our control. You can control your feelings. You can't control the other person, but you can control how often the other person comes to your house. So first, you have to build a life that you genuinely enjoy on your own. What's your hobbies? What friendships can you pour yourself into appropriately? A person who is fulfilled by their own life, their work, their friends, their goals, sees a partner as a fantastic complement, not the source of their entire world. You stop looking for someone to complete you and realize that you're already whole. Maybe it's the wife just stirring the pot. No, you stir your own pot. I don't care if that's still your sister. I'm going to say it the same way. What bitch can control what the fuck you do in your house? Nah. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's think about this. In society, who controls your decision making? You do. Self-esteem is what? Cat Williams said it right. It's the esteem of your motherfucking self. So who controls how you feel about shit? You do. They can only stir the pot if you give them a pot to stir. If they ain't got no spoon to stir the pot, what they stirring? You allow them to put salt on an open wound because instead of you closing up that wound and moving on with it, you're leaving the wound open so that they can just come and sprinkle a little bit more bullshit on what you did not already close up. You left that door open for chaos because you wasn't done with it. You left the bullshit there. You are used to chaos, and that is why you allow the chaos to continue. Because what job are you going to work on where your boss cuss you out at work every day for 8 fucking years? First couple days of that shit, you gone. Now, family is going to be a lot different than an employee because with a job, you can say, fuck you, I'll go find me another job. Most people don't say, fuck you, I'll go make my own family. Most people say, I have to put up with this because that's my family. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means that the people that you choose in your life can have a stronger bond with you than your blood family. That could be your sister. Your sister could be the furthest person away from you than your closest friend. That could be your child's father, and you know nothing about him. You choose to allow her to piss you off because that's the only relationship you got with her. Because if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have nothing to do with her. You choose to allow him to piss you off because that's all you got with him. You won't allow anything else to happen between y'all to have nothing else go on there. So in order for you to find peace, you got to stop letting her stir the pot. Take that pot and put it away. He said, water can be thicker than blood, I find. No, people get that metaphor confused because the water of the womb is your relative, and the blood of the covenant is the brotherly bonds that we develop in our lives. And no, your friendships can be stronger than your family ties, but your family legacy is stronger than your friendships. You are not going to be able to change your bloodline, but you can change the people that you associate with in your friend group. You can change who you associate with in your family dynamics. You can have estranged family members that you have dismissed from your life where they're all but considered dead to you. And then have your best friend full of all that bullshit calling you while you're in the middle of an important business meeting so that you can come and save them from yet another stupid decision. And the irony is that more often than not, we seek familiarity. So the same chaos that we had in our childhood, we look for that in our adulthood because that's where we find peace, through chaos. Which is why I tell women all the time, do not go after your type because that is a stereotype. If you're going after your type and your type is chaotic, you will end up in multiple chaotic relationships. You ask yourself how many relationships that has failed that was your type. And when you say 2, 3, 5, 7 more than that, you understand that your type is toxic and you need to go find somebody that is not your type. You need to find somebody that you're not attracted to. You need to find somebody that's boring, that doesn't excite you, that doesn't bring you thrill because you're looking for something different, not familiar. Because you're familiar with chaos. You're not familiar with peace. Peace is a foreign entity to you. And because peace is a foreign entity to you, you're uncomfortable with peace. You're uncomfortable with quiet. You're uncomfortable with boring. You're uncomfortable with stable. You're uncomfortable with predictable. And because you're uncomfortable with that, you're going to fuck that up so that you got chaos in your life because that's all you're used to. Then you're going to blame the other person because they didn't allow the chaos in your life so that y'all could stay together. Not everybody wants chaos. And after a while, everybody, men and women alike, reach a certain age, typically between 30 and 50, where you just get tired of the bullshit. But for women, it is harder to find peace in a relationship after 30, 40, because a lot of the men are still looking to be fathers. It's harder for men at 18 to 25 to find that peace. They don't have the resources to provide for the kind of woman that would provide that peace. But if 60-year-old women were dating 25-year-old men, oh, y'all would find it. Y'all would find exactly what you're looking for. But that's not the dynamic because women date inside of their age group or they date men older than them. Men date inside of their age group more often than not. They date women that's younger than them. So no, when you say that water can be thicker than blood, no, the dynamic is misunderstood. Okay, the water of the womb is the bloodline. The brotherly bonds is a friendship. But I understand your observation that yes, friendships can be stronger than family, of course, because your DNA doesn't dictate who you hang with. But that's why you should never let chaos run your life. Chaos should stick to the door. You know how your employer tells you leave that bullshit at the door when you come to work? You should be able to tell everybody that brings chaos into your life to leave that bullshit at the street corner before you come to my house. Don't bring that bullshit to my house. Straight up. Now, the second practice that you have to have is emotional self-regulation, which is what we're talking about right now. So when you're feeling that wave of loneliness, instead of immediately opening a dating app or sitting there doom scrolling for emotional validation, journal how you feel. Call and talk to a friend. Come talk to me. Go for a walk. Get you a dog so you can take your dog for a walk. You might not feel comfortable with walking by yourself in the middle of the night. That's fine. Get you a big ass fucking Rottweiler and go walk that. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with you if you got a big ass Rottweiler. Go get you one of those. Go get you one of those 70-pound dogs and walk that motherfucker. You be safe. Or hey, look, you don't have to get a big dog. You can just get you a gun. But I would just suggest get you a big dog because what the gun won't do is cuddle with you. The dog will cuddle with you. You can just take your dog for a walk. Get you a cat. Get you a few cats. You know, But you have to learn to self-soothe yourself when pain overwhelms you. You have to learn ways to self-soothe yourself. And it can come from meditation. It can come from distraction. That's why you see a lot of people on video game consoles these days venting over the chat. It can come from social groups, from um, um, you don't have to just go to divorce groups. They've got single women groups. I would suggest that as a single, truth be told, Claudia, if you went to a men's group, you would get a lot more out of that than what you would go to a women's group. I got nothing against women, but women are not forward thinkers. Honest to God, as you've explained, y'all stay stuck to the past. You have to go to a group of people who are talking about their futures and listen to that. Okay? Listen to how they're planning on moving forward. Listen to how they're making changes in their lives so that they can make things better for themselves. While they recognize that shit happened in the past, listen to how, and you're going to get that from a men's group. You're not going to get that from a woman's group. Women are going to talk about fuck men, men suck, I hate men, but that's just the bitterness. But very few of them are talking about what, like, for example, I can ask you right now, Claudia, you said you got 5 years left. What are you doing in 6 years? I can almost guarantee that you do not have a plan of action for when you no longer have to deal with this bullshit anymore. You don't have any kids to raise. You don't have to contribute to child care, nothing to that effect. Kids are gone. They're out of the situation. They're going to college. They're living their best lives. What do you plan on doing with yourself? Y'all don't have a plan for that. Not because y'all are not capable of creating that plan, but because the average person doesn't think about the future. The average person thinks about right now. See, now I love that plan, but here's a question. Why aren't you moving out of state right now? Ain't shit stopping you from moving out of state right now. That child is not keeping you from moving out of state. You choose to not move out of state. You choose to not move out of state. You can move out of state. If your job in 5 or 6 years would allow you to move out of state, your job would allow you to move out of state right now. Your kid got nothing to do with it. You can see your kids from a video call. And if you're financially successful out of state, you can always fly back and come and see your kids. Where you are emotionally prepared to engage the adults that have hurt you, instead of trying to keep it together every day because you have not gotten over the fact that they've hurt you. There's a difference there. You would be a more confident, capable, secure, and whole person as a presentation to your children if you move out of state now, get your life together, and come back and visit your children as a self-sufficient and successful individual, as opposed to being an emotionally damaged person right now that is barely getting by on the emotional pressure. I guess it's cheaper to stay in a state. No. What state you live in? I bet you I can find a cheaper one. Because I mean, the only reason why it's cheaper to stay where you are is if your husband is paying for your house, or your baby daddy's paying for your house. It's cheaper to stay where you are if you're living in the same house as your sister. You name a state. Truth be told, because I mean, if you stay in California, New York, Florida, I can tell you Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi. If you're staying in Texas, Montana, Tennessee, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. You pay your own bills. Do you work off the computer, or do you work at the job? Because that's really the biggest dynamic. Do you have a remote job where you get paid off of the computer, or do you have to go to work and clock in? That's the biggest deciding factor right there. Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, now right next door to Phoenix, Arizona is Arkansas. Arkansas is cheaper than Phoenix. South Dakota is cheaper than Phoenix, but it's colder. Louisiana is cheaper than Phoenix. Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, right next to Arkansas. And little bit lower, so it's not as cold, cheaper than Phoenix. So technically, the only thing really stopping you from moving to another state is the fact that you haven't started looking for a job in the state that you want to move to. That's the only thing stopping you. It ain't the kids. Because you can fly 2,000 miles away and you can still catch a flight in the morning and see your kids in the afternoon. Ain't nothing stopping you. The difference between you waiting on him to drop the kids off versus you getting off the plane and the kids meet you at the airport is the fact that you would get emotional peace from a new environment that doesn't have ex, his baby mama, in it. You wouldn't have to look at them accidentally. You wouldn't have to look at them on purpose. You wouldn't have to hear their voice. You wouldn't have to see nothing about them. You wouldn't have memories in the house that you're currently living in that you can't get past. You would have a whole new environment. Moving on sometimes requires you to relocate, and the only thing stopping you from doing it is that you don't want to. You don't want to let go. But when you're ready to let go, fuck the kids. You're gonna leave. Special shout out to Max Opposer. When look, hold on. Ohio is cheaper than Phoenix. Ohio is cheaper than Phoenix. So it's not that you can't. People, this is one of the things that I want to tell y'all right now while we got this topic going on, and this is going to help y'all be better people all the way around, men and women alike. My father raised me like this when I was younger, and I treat him this way now because he's old. At the end of the day, you need to take can't out of your vocabulary. There's nothing in this world that you cannot do beyond what somebody that has more authority over your situation denies you the ability to do. So the only thing stopping you from relocating is the fact that you haven't looked for a job in the state that you want to move to. The fact that you have not started saving money to relocate. The fact that you haven't started boxing up all of your shit. The fact that you have not started applying yourself to the relocation. That's why you're not doing it. You use the excuse of, oh, I do it for my kids, because you have self-identified as a codependent parent to the child who does not identify as, I need my mom to be here. Because if the children are with the daddy, they don't need mom to be here. Mom doesn't live with dad. So mom doesn't have to be nearby for me to know that mom will come when I call mom. It is, truth be told, it is honest to God. When we were children, we had no limitations in life. And when we had no limitations in life, because we would always think outside of the box. What if? Hypothetically, what if? No rules attached, no restrictions. The older we got, the more we learned and taught ourselves. I can't, I shouldn't. But why? What law says you can't? Why? Why can't you? We put ourselves in a box where we have no other option but to suffer, because we do not want to think about, how would I fucking maintain that if I did? Because truth be told, that's the other reason why you haven't left. You haven't relocated to another state because your network, your sister, your baby daddy is there. If you move to another state, you have no network. You have to build it all over again. So at the end of the day, you're in a situation where your fear of how would you maintain living in another state versus your refusal to let go of the past prevents you from relocating. But it's not because you can't. It's because you don't want to. Now, Max, you want a serious relationship. You're ready for a serious relationship. The best thing that you can do is stop being childish, because at the end of the day, no woman at your age group is going to appreciate a class clown. Women don't like that. They don't find that attractive. I can't put that any better. Honest to God. No matter how much money you spend on a girl, she will let you spend that money because you're spending the money. But in order for her to value you as a man, you have to be valuable outside of your money. You have to be valuable outside of your stuff. If she can't find value in you outside of your money and your stuff, you are going to waste a lot of money, and you're going to give away a lot of stuff, and you're going to work really hard for the next 30 years of your life. You're going to find yourself at 45 years old with less stuff than what you had when you're at your current age right now, and you will be wondering where the fuck all your money went because you spent all of your money on hoping that the girl would stay. First, you have to make yourself valuable. First, you have to value yourself. Well, I love for you coming to the show. At the end of the day, a lot of the class clown jokes that you have when you dive onto the show typically comes from your desire for attention. Regardless of why you don't believe that you have enough attention in life, you would benefit more from positive attention than negative attention. Because while negative attention is easier to acquire, more people observe you being a jackass and lose respect for you. And then after you've gotten your negative attention and you've had your little kiki laugh, then when you decide to try to do something in your life, people that you've never met before saw you being disrespectful. They've lost respect in you, and now they're not willing to work with you. Now they're not willing to help you. Now they're not willing to negotiate with you. You close doors accidentally because you're seeking negative attention. And then you wonder why life is so hard. But if you put more effort into positive attention, people will see you being positive. People will see you trying and striving and going through those 12 trials of Hercules, and they will help you. Opportunities that you didn't know exist will come out of nowhere. Favor will come out of nowhere because you are doing everything you can to be positive in life. Negotiations get easier. Support gets easier. But as long as you are negative, you are not going to be attractive to society. You are not going to be respected. Yes, you got people like Myron. Controversy is what people seek, but they're only seeking controversy for entertainment. That man ain't standing up there talking about how women ain't doing what they're supposed to do, and his wife is standing next to him. He's a single man talking that shit. Not saying that he is at all wrong, but at the end of the day, what he would be looking for is hard for him to find, because in order for him to find what he is looking for, he would have to provide compromise to the other person. And that's not something he's willing to advocate for, is the compromise. He's coming from that zero tolerance. And I understand that you have to have non-negotiable expectations. But as a man, I have to know what I want from my woman, and she has to agree to that. Then on the other side of the fence is that I need to find out what she wants from a man, and then I have to agree to that. If one of us is not willing to agree to the terms, this is not going to be a functional relationship. Yeah, the sex will be good for a while. Yeah, the spending of the other person's money will be good for a while. Yeah, we could pool our money together and live a financially more stable lifestyle for a while, but we're not getting what we want. And the longer we're in that situation, the more bitter we're going to get, the more resentment we're going to develop, and then we're going to end up, one of us is going to cheat on the other person, and then the relationship is going to fall apart. One of us is going to start an argument about nothing, and then the relationship is going to fall apart. And it's going to be tit for tat, resentment, retaliation, and it's going to continue going until we end up breaking up or getting a divorce. Any adult that stays in an emotionally unhealthy situation for the sake of the kids is providing a negative emotional environment for the children, because you can't show your children what happiness looks like because you're not happy, which prevents your children from being able to find happiness as an adult because they don't know what happiness looks like. I'll let you marinate on that for a while. She said, I got to tell you, you've done better than my counselor. And my cheapest membership is $3 a month, and you paying between $30 and $250 an hour to talk to your counselor. It don't matter if they own your insurance. Fact is, they getting paid upwards of a few $100s an hour, to make you stop and think for yourself. And I just sat here for an hour and 38 minutes and I just fixed the last 8 years of your life. And this is what I do, primarily for free. Hardest part of your involvement was the ads that interfered with the show. But this is the logic and dynamic. This is the logic and dynamic. Nobody is going to tell you to fix yourself, especially women. Why? Because since society loves chaos, women will promote women responding negatively, not just because women are negative, but because the women are emotionally bitter about the last time they experienced a negative experience with a man. And because they're seeing one woman get the best of a man, they're going to internalize that as some type of female justice against all men. So, oh, you can fuck up your life because it'll make me feel better as a person. Key his car, slash his tires, spray painted, bust his windshield. Then when you're sitting in jail, oh, that's fucked up. They shouldn't have called the police on you. You shouldn't have fucked up his car with a whole crowd of people cheering you on. That was a whole crowd of women cheering you on. But when you cheat on a man, does a man key your car? No. Does he slash your tires, bash your window? No. Does he come to your job and talk shit about you? No. He gets his stuff and he leaves. Or he gets your stuff and he puts you out. He doesn't set it on fire in the front yard. Men don't get revenge. That's a woman tactic because you have more emotions that you can't deal with than you have logical decision making in that moment. But see, what men have to deal with, a man has another man telling him, fix that shit. Go talk to her. Work it out. Go buy her some flowers. Get her a necklace. Apologize. Even if it's not your fault, take responsibility. That's what men are taught. Take responsibility for her mistake. Internalize that as your mistake so that she forgives you for what she did wrong so that she can stop making you feel bad about yourself. That's what men are told. What women tell other women, girl, you don't need him. Fuck him. You can do this all by yourself. That man ain't shit. Where in female culture is one woman telling another woman, girl, you need to go over there and apologize to him for that shit. Fix that. That's a good man. You need to put more effort into making your relationship work. Y'all don't hear that. Responsibility right out the window. Accountability right out the window. Today's show is about helping men become better men in their decision making. But at the end of the day, ladies, y'all can take this information too, because it's about personal responsibility. You have to recognize that you fucked up in your situation by allowing yourself not to move forward. You have to recognize that you didn't do something for yourself that you should have done and start doing it. This is the only podcast on YouTube that's not the blame game. I'll spend an hour and a half talking about what the problem is, but I'll spend another hour and a half talking about how you could have fixed it long time ago and how you need to fix it now. How you doing, Henry? You thought I was Snoop Dogg for a second? Shit, I wish I had my hair braided. That's going to be a criteria for some of these females. Look, if you talking, you ain't got to know how to braid hair when I meet you, but throughout our relationship, you're going to braid my hair. You're going to learn. You're going to practice. I'm going to wear it all fucked up so that you can feel bad about how I look, and you're going to fix it. You're going to keep braiding my hair till you get good at it. You're going to do it better than them salons be doing it. Trying to told you. Now, y'all got to understand that this is a skill. It's a skill like any other skill. And this skill takes a lot of practice. Taking accountability for yourself and taking accountability for others takes a lot of practice. And this is one of the reasons why when I make these comments, women get offended, but women do not have to take accountability or responsibility, because from childhood, the dad took responsibility and accountability. The stepdad took responsibility and accountability. The brother took accountability and responsibility. The boyfriend took accountability and responsibility. The strange guy that didn't want the cute girl to get fucked over took accountability and responsibility. Women go through life with less requirement to be responsible for shit. And then they do not develop the skill set to fix that. Hands down, you can ask yourself how many things in life it's a man's job to fix that shit. But when you think, what's a woman's job to fix that? The first thing women are going to say before men even comment, the kids and the house. But you could have easily said, fix the lack of income in the household, fix which requires you to get a better job or get a second job, fix the car, fix if your husband's got a business and his business isn't doing good, fix the marketing strategy for his business. Women don't say stuff like that. Women say when if a man asks a woman what you supposed to fix, his emotional state. You're not supposed to fix his emotional state. Fuck him. That's your boyfriend or your husband, but you ain't fixing his emotional state. He got to fix that himself. You can be a shoulder to cry on. You can be an ear to listen to some stuff, but he feel bad because he feel bad, not because you did something to make him feel bad. Because you shouldn't be doing anything to make him feel bad. So when you think about what are you really responsible for, then you start being able to effectively answer that question. What do women bring to the table? Because you're responsible for certain shit in this relationship. And a lot of it don't have nothing to do with the damn kitchen or the laundry room or the daycare center. You got a lot of responsibility in this relationship. Okay. But once you figure out where your part is in this situation, you can start figuring how to better navigate that so that you can be a better partner for your spouse. And the only reason why you're trying to be a better partner for your spouse is because that's how the relationship works, is because you're finding a partner that's going to be a better partner for you where you benefit them. You're going to find out what they need so that you can be a better partner for them so that you can be an asset to them. Because if you're not an asset, you're a liability. And that's the reason why women do not take gratitude from men, because they don't want to owe the man something as a liability. So in a relationship, to be treated as an equal, you don't have to put the same quantity of money on the table as he does. But what you do have to do is put in a reasonable, balanced quantity of effort to offset the quantity of income that he put into the relationship so that y'all are both contributing reasonably on a balance. He has what he needs and you got what you want. You're step up. He didn't get what he wanted. He got what he needed. Think about that for a second. Ultimately, the goal is going to be for you to shift from a I need relationship to an I want a relationship. And you're going to want a relationship to share your already fulfilled life with, not to fulfill a void in your life. So when you operate from a place of wholeness, you stop chasing love and you start attracting it. It's easier to love who loves you than it is to force someone who doesn't know you to love you. And that's what men make the biggest mistake in, is that we're sexually attracted to this girl, so we're going to force her to like us. We're going to force her to love us. We're going to spend enough money on her to convince her to like us. That's not the way to do it. If you become a beacon for other healthy people who are also looking for a true partner, not a project, you will find better suitors for your situation. If women stop dressing like OnlyFans, they would stop attracting dirtbags. Because the guys that are only looking at you for sex are only looking at you for sex because you are dressing sexy. Look at the female judges in the courtroom. How sexy are they? They're smart, well educated, successful, and a lot of them got husbands. But you don't see those women twerking in a nightclub. You don't see those women with booty shorts on walking down Main Street. Those women carry themselves with dignity and respect on and off the job. These are female judges now. Female politicians do the same thing. And those kind of women are not going to be approached by a guy that does not have that value. Think about that now. All right, now let's talk money. because I know this is where it gets uncomfortable for y'all, which is exactly why we need to go there. The second brutal truth is that your financial instability isn't just your problem. It is a massive, flashing neon red flag to potential partners. Being a financial disaster is deeply unattractive, not because of the number in your bank account, but because of what it says about you. The issue isn't being poor, because people fall on hard times on a regular basis. The issue is being financially irresponsible. And this is going to be where the gold digger mentality comes in at, where women ask all the time, why do men care so much about this? If I have to throw away hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to make you happy, that makes us financially irresponsible, because you do not care about personal success. You care about this Gucci purse, this Prada bag, this outfit over here, this Brazilian weave from Amsterdam, and all this other shit, instead of building the type of wealth where we can stop working on these mediocre jobs that we don't like and spend more time with each other. That's the whole full dynamic of the gold digger mentality, is the fiscal irresponsibility of the person that we're looking at. You have to understand, it's the mountain of credit card debt from impulsive buying, the total lack of a budget, the I'll deal with my student loans later attitude, to a potential partner. This doesn't just scream bad with money. It screams I lack discipline, which this is another red flag that men are starting to stand principle on, is that we're looking for obedient women, because if you have discipline, you can follow instructions. I can give you a plan of action and you'll follow it. It's not about sitting when I say sit, stay when I say stay. It's about go take care of this project, and when I come back, that project is done. And that project could actually be the project is actually you going and potentially investing in a large stock option because I don't have time to do it. The project could be closing a real estate deal because I don't have time to do it. The project could be buying a bigger car or whatever the case may be because I don't have time to do it. The fact is that um, you have to be able to follow instructions, because the difference is that a man will ask a woman, what does she need? And what does she want? And what can he do to make her smile? And what can he do to make her happy? He asks all day long so that he knows that he's doing it right because she said. And when she doesn't say and she shuts him out and she doesn't tell him, then she turns about um she turns about and shuts him out and doesn't say anything to him. You know what I mean? And the difference is that when a woman comes and looks at a man, she doesn't ask him what he needs. She doesn't ask him what he wants. She doesn't ask him what makes him happy. What she does is she gives him what she wants him to have. She gets him what she thinks he should get from her. And if he's not satisfied with that, she gets angry. But you understand that since you don't ask what he needs and what he wants, he has to tell you what he needs and what he wants. Now, the other side of disobedience is that, if you put more effort into doing a census to make sure that everything's under control, instead of you taking his instructions to you as dictatorship, you could actually inquire and ask him of what he needs and what he wants and how does he expect that to get done. And then he can answer your questions. And then you can take the information more respectfully instead of you just ignoring the fact that there's stuff that he needs and wants that's not getting done. And then he has to tell you, babe, go do this, go do that, go take this over here. Because a leader is not going to ask you for permission to tell you that the ship is sinking, go plug that fucking hole. The captain is going to tell you the ship is sinking, go plug the hole. And you're either going to do it or you're not. you have to understand that this stuff is going to scream that I can't delay gratification. I'm not ready for a grown-up partnership. That's what this is going to scream. Think of it this way. A relationship is a joint venture, like building a house together. You're co-investing in a shared future. If you show up to the construction site with no tools, no skills, and a history of abandoning the projects, why would a serious builder want a partner with you? Your financial chaos is a cracked foundation, and a smart person knows that building a life on a cracked foundation is a recipe for a collapse. Financial stress is one of the leading causes of breakups and divorces. It seeps into every corner of the relationship. When you bring financial chaos into a partnership, you're not just bringing your own stress, you are infecting your partner with your stress. It leads to more fights. It leads to less intimacy, because when you are pissed off at each other, when you're resenting each other, you do not have the same attraction to one another. When you're harboring that resentment towards the stuff that you've seen, heard, and whatever they did, you start projecting that lack of desire to be intimate with them, which will deflect them from you and cause them to resent the fact that you're rejecting their emotional advances, which is going to lead to them resenting you. And then you're going to resent them because they're resenting you. And that's going to keep going back and forth until y'all just break up. And it's going to lead to more fights. And it's going to lead to a breakdown in communication, because when that resentment starts to build, your partner, who may have worked hard for their stability, now feel like they're constantly bailing water out of a boat that you keep drilling holes in. And no healthy adult wants to be a financial partner to their romantic partner. No woman wants to take care of a man. And men are not wanting to be a stimulus check to a woman. The solution isn't to get rich overnight. It's to show that you're taking ownership of your financial life. It's about proving to yourself first that you are a responsible person. It is about signaling maturity, foresight, and trustworthiness. And this foresight is a huge thing with women. Ladies, if you don't have a 20-year plan, you're fucking up. And if the man you're talking to, no matter how much money he's willing to spend on you, doesn't have a 20-year plan, he's fucking up. If you don't know where you want to be at in 20 years and is effectively putting forth the steps to get there, you are not ready for a relationship. If he doesn't have a 20-year plan and is putting forth his steps to get there, he is not ready for a relationship. If you're living in the here and now and not preparing yourselves for later, look, 30, 40 years old, we getting too old for this shit. 50 years old, we're getting too old for this shit. Eventually, we got to stop. And if we're not building a retirement, a nest egg, it's not just the 401ks and the Roth IRAs. We have to have enough money to cover the next 30, 40, 50 more years of our life where we don't have to clock in every day. And if we're not setting that up for ourselves, we're failing ourselves. And that makes us a financial burden if we get into a relationship with someone else. Because the day that I can't work anymore is the day that I start costing my relationship money. The day that you can't work anymore is the day that you start costing your relationship money. You go from being an asset to a liability. So if you're not building the type of future through your foresight so that your financial contributions are covered in the absence of your employment, where now you have more time to put effort into your relationship. If you're not doing that, you are not building the right future that a partner can come into and add to that. Because if all you can do is build $250,000 by yourself and your partner can come in and build another $250,000 by theirself, y'all got $500,000. And $500,000 at 15% is well over $30,000, $40,000 a year of dividends. And you think that's not enough money. But if your house is paid off, if you can leverage that $500,000 to go and buy your stuff, you can buy a brand new house, you can buy yourself a car, and then have the stock option pay the loan back, and you're not paying for nothing. Cars paid for, rent, light, gas, and water's paid for, phone bills paid for. You own everything. The only reason why you think you need $100,000 a year is because you're still renting shit. You're still buying shit by paying notes on mortgages and paying notes on cars and paying notes on subscriptions. And if everything is paid off, bought in full, what the fuck are you paying for? A lot of the times the property taxes is $5,000 a year or less. In some places, you might find the property tax is $750 a year. That's less than $50 a month. You throw that on top of basic bills, you might be spending $1,000 a month, which is a $12,000 a year standard of living for one person, probably an $18,000 a year standard of living for two people, because you own everything. So if you're getting 30 grand, that means that you got an extra 10 to 20 grand to travel the world with every year because you own everything. That is the type of 20-year plan that y'all don't think about, ladies. The man is supposed to piece all that shit together. But if you piece that together for yourself, then you can find the kind of man that's got the capabilities to match that and make that happen faster. So now your 20-year plan turns into a 10-year plan. That's the kind of man you're looking for. You're not looking for a man that's going to take you out tonight and steak and lobster tomorrow and dinner and a movie over here and yacht party over there. You're looking for a kind of man that's like, oh shit, she's got her shit together. Let me throw money towards that so that we can get that done sooner. Because outside of him laying his life down on the line for you, the only thing that a man is showing up in your relationship with is to provide financial resource. So if you, the ladies that think that they're 40 and they already know what they want, if you're putting your effort to that and y'all want the same thing, now you got a partner. Because you're already doing it. That's what self-sufficiency is. You're already doing it for yourself, and he's going to step in and do it with you. I'm trying to tell you. So this is what you guys have to actually do. You first have to create a budget. And this is a non-negotiable. You can't control your money if you don't know where it's going. If you got to, use an app, use a spreadsheet, whatever. But just track your income and every single expense for at least a month. A lot of y'all got the app downloaded onto your phone, direct your bank account, your credit cards, everything to that effect. You should turn the notifications on. If you turn the notifications off on everything else, you need to keep the notifications for YouTube on so that you can know when I come onto the show. And then you need to have the notifications from your bank so that you know when a transaction is made. And at the end of the day, you should be able to keep track of everything that you're putting your money towards. The goal isn't judgment for yourself. It is awareness. Then the second thing you want to do is you want to use that data to create a get unbroke plan. This is for broke folks, people who are living from paycheck to paycheck, people who can't take 2 weeks off unpaid leave with no vacation time and still be able to pay their bills on time. This is for y'all. You want to list your debts from the smallest, cheapest ones to the largest, and you want to attack the smallest ones first because that's the easiest ones while making the minimum payments on the rest of them. This is going to be a debt snowball method. The reason why this is going to work because it's going to give you a quick psychological win that is going to build the momentum and motivation to keep doing that over and over and over again. The point is to have a plan, any kind of plan, and to be actively working towards it. Every dollar app, yeah, every dollar app, you've got it. Most of our banks have online banking, so we can see our primary bank accounts. We should be able to do a multitude of things with this knowledge. Foremost, your direct deposits go into a bank account that you don't spend money out of. Then you proactively wire transfer your money to another account that you take money out of. You're going to wire transfer money to a savings account that you're not going to mess with in case of an emergency. You're going to wire transfer money to an account that is going to build up your brokerage accounts. health savings funds, high interest savings accounts, stocks, bonds, Bitcoin, all that other stuff. But when it comes down to discretionary spending, there's a completely different checking account for your discretionary spending. Why is that? Because if you got to dispute a charge, your rent is not impacted by your direct deposit for your rent. Any automatic bill pay should be in a separate bank account than your online spending. Matter of fact, if you do it right, you should have a secured credit card that has a limit on it that can't be pulled from anywhere else, and that's what you use to make transactions online. You want to have stops, checks, and balances. Your paycheck should not be able to be funneled into an instant gratification purchase on TikTok. There should be a method where you've got to go through 10 or 15 steps to actually make that transaction happen, which turns it from an impulse buy to a decisive decision. And part of the way, those 10 or 15 steps, you will have to start really thinking, do I really need this? And it will discourage you from actually buying it. Shit, one of the things I do is I put shit into a cart and then I wait 6 months. And if I'm still looking at it, I might buy it. But if when I get ready to think about buying it, I think about the next 6 weeks of stuff that I might have to pay for. And if I don't have enough money to cover the spread and I can't find value in that item, I'm still not buying it. There's stuff that I've got in a shopping cart from 2 years ago that I just look at and be like, damn, I was looking at that way back when. There are websites where I look at stuff and I don't even want to put it in the cart. I send myself a link to the item. I have a whole thread 5 years back of stuff that I thought about buying in the moment. And if I make the money to get it, I'll scroll back through, click the link, and if the item is still available, I'll buy it. But if I can find something more important than that item, I'm not buying it. But everybody, men and women alike, have impulse control that they can work on. You need it now to feel good about yourself, but you don't need it now, because if you're not going to use it every day, every week, every month, you don't really need it. A lot of times we get stuff for status, to show off to other people. We plan on getting it and everybody's going to drool over it, and we're going to feel good about ourselves because of the external validation from the item that we got. And then you recognize, how often do you leave the house with that and people don't even know you got it? So you still wasted your money on it because the goal was external validation from this. And you didn't need that. You could have saved you some money. But even if you do something like just $20 a week, the amount is less important than the habit. If you do these things to start emergency funds, the little cushion of money that you put aside is the first steps to breaking that habit of living paycheck to paycheck and that constant cycle of anxiety that comes with not having enough money in between paychecks. Take, for example, just this past week, I had the next 4 months mapped out. I put my car in the shop on Wednesday, and now I have to pay $2,000. And that's not even my primary car. My primary car has a $2,500 repair for the transmission. That's the secondary car that costs $2,000. You don't expect these things. But because I don't have anything that I have to do this month or even next month, because I actually prepared, part of my 4-month plan was to make sure that the next 3 months were paid for in advance so that I can make a large purchase in 3 months. I actually have $5,000 to put on the $2,000 purchase, so I can just charge it in the moment because it actually is a necessity. I can't move the secondary car if I don't fix it. So I got to fix the secondary car. But if I was living from paycheck to paycheck, I wouldn't have the money. I wouldn't have the capabilities. It would be a, oh, damn, it's broke, and I'm just going to leave it sit in the yard because I can't afford to do anything with it. Right? And I don't pay insurance on the vehicles that I don't drive. So I let the registration expire on my birthday. I didn't renew the registration, left the plates on the car because I don't have to turn it in because it's not registered anymore. And I just took it off the insurance. So I don't have to pay for it. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people pay insurance for a car that don't move because they don't want to take the plates back to the DMV and pay the $50 to get it back when they do got the money to pay for it, because they feel like that $50 is a loss of $50. But the $100-something a month that you're paying on the car insurance, you're throwing away money for a car that don't drive. And God forbid you're leasing that motherfucker. God forbid that you got to pay car notes on it. God forbid that you're in a 7-year contract, the bitch broke and it's outside of the warranty and you have to pay notes on the car. I would spend that extra money for a full platinum package, bumper to bumper warranty, so that anything happened to this car, it's getting fixed for free. Everything down to the damn tires and the brakes. I'm paying extra so that I ain't got to fix shit. But when you guys start doing this, something else happens because you end up feeling more in control. Your self-esteem is going to grow. You don't have to sit here and beg the mechanic to lower the price on the car. You don't give a fuck. How much does it cost? I'll come get it. The confidence is incredibly attractive. And when other people see you having the capabilities to make an informed decision and not flinch at the price, other people will gravitate towards that for 2 reasons. 1, they're going to admire it. And 2, they're going to want to know how the fuck you were able to do that. But now you can talk about money, not from a place of shame, but from a place of, here's where I am now. Here is my plan for the future. And this is something that I am committed to. So, Claudia, your capability to move to another state could start with you finding out how much it costs to fly there, how much it would cost to pack up all your shit and move it there, find out what the standard of living there is, find out what kind of employment that you qualify for that's available over there, or actually start trying to get you a job online where you can start doing the work from home. That way, when you do make the move, you don't even have to look for a new job. You can transition right now into working online remotely. And then if you decide to move, you're just moving on your day off. And if they're paying you the same amount of money that will cover your Phoenix standard of living, and you end up in like Tennessee with $10,000 or $15,000 a year less, and you're still making the same amount of money, you got more discretionary spending. And I done already told y'all, if you're putting between $10,000 and $40,000 a year into high interest savings, that you're going to have anywhere between $100,000 and $500,000 in 10 years, and anywhere between $250,000 and $2.5 million in 20 years, where your standard living should be covered inside of the first 10 to 12 years of your savings. And the remainder of that is doubling your standard of living, so that when your 20-year plan is over, not only do you not have to work anymore, you can take half of the money that you're getting from dividends and reinvest it back into the principal to increase the principal while you live off of your investment opportunity, which offsets inflation and taxation. Yeah. But then that transparency from your capabilities of being able to communicate with other people and the responsibility that is observed from other people tells a partner that you're not looking for a financial bailout. And that's going to be attractive for a man. But fellas, if you're doing this, you're showing women that you're capable of handling this on your own, and you are looking for a teammate that's going to do this with you and make it better. The third brutal truth is that your emotional house is a mess. You're carrying unresolved baggage from your past, Claudia. Your old relationships, childhood past traumas, all of this stuff, you're letting sabotage your current present lifestyle. You're dating from an unhealed wound. And every new person that you meet is either a potential threat or a potential medic for that wound. This shows up in hundreds of different ways. It's stalking your ex's new partner on social media, whether they know it or not. Keeping the wound fresh. It's having a short fuse and getting wildly angry over small misunderstandings because it triggers a deep fear of abandonment. Complex PTSD is the ability to self-traumatize yourself, re-traumatize yourself after the trauma because you're so used to the trauma. It really is what it is. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, and complex PTSD is re-traumatizing yourself and developing more post-traumatic stress from the trauma you caused on yourself. That's why it's complex. And that's one of the reasons why you have to detach yourself from it, because you cannot heal from past trauma until you remove yourself from the trauma. And this type of behavior is going to start developing a constant neediness for reassurance because you have a core belief that you aren't good enough, when in fact you perfectly are. It's repeating the same toxic relationship over and over and over again, just with different faces. And when you haven't processed your past traumas, you aren't truly present in your current relationship. You're interacting with new people through a distorted filter of old pain. And when you operate from an unhealed wound, you can't build a healthy connection with a new person. You can't build a healthy connection with your children. You can build a connection with your children, but your children can tell how your behavior changes when dad shows up. And not knowing what's going on, they're going to assume that's how people who love each other are supposed to behave. Then your children are going to find partners who treat them the same way. Because your actions are driven by fear, you have to recognize your actions are not driven by love. Your interactions are also going to not be driven by love. And you might become a people pleaser in a lot of situations, terrified of conflict, abandoning your own needs just to avoid being left. And situations like I do it for the kids is you abandoning your own values, your own needs to avoid being fully alone. When what you really need is to be fully alone, because that is how you heal, by yourself, not in a collective of misery. You might become hypervigilant because you're not doing anything about this. And you're always looking for signs of betrayal in someone else, of pushing people away before they can hurt you, which could cause you to tell your kids to leave you alone because you're tired, your head hurt, your back hurt, you don't feel good, because emotional pain is reflected in the human body through physical pain. Mommy's not feeling good right now, go play. Mommy's upset right now, go play. Mommy's stressed out right now, go play. Go find something to do. And each one of those is happening when a child is saying, Mommy, give me attention. I can't deal with you right now. Get attention from somewhere else. That's what that is. We don't think about that as parents, but that is rejecting the child's affections accidentally. Hello, Clips. Mr. Clips. Almost like Charlie Clips. Now, you're going to end up unconsciously testing your partner, asking things like, are you going to abandon me too? It's an exhausting and unstable way to build a relationship, because that forces, especially with men, that's going to force a man to continuously provide you with reassurance that he loves you, he cares for you, he's not going anywhere. But if you keep accusing him of leaving you, of cheating on you, of abandoning the relationship. He's going to get tired of being condemned for doing something that he's not doing, and he's going to effectively start doing it. If I have already been convicted of murder and I've already done the time, then I might as well commit the crime, because you can't convict me twice for the same thing. If you accuse me for killing somebody who ain't dead, I might as well have gone ahead and done it, because I didn't already serve my time for it. And that's how men are going to behave in a relationship. If you accuse an honest man who is not cheating on you of cheating, you're convincing him that he should be cheating. If you do not trust him, you shouldn't be in a relationship with him. If you're looking through his details, if you're going through his social media accounts, if you're scrolling through the internet, if you're going through his text messages, looking at all of his photos and trying to find proof that he's cheating, you should just break up with him. Because if you're looking for evidence to validate the fact that you want to leave, you have to think to yourself that why are you even looking for this shit? Oh, I was bored and I was scrolling and I found. You wasn't bored. You wanted a reason. And when you found it, you didn't know how to act. We got a lot of women that come to the show. Oh, how do I deal with this? I found this on his phone. I wasn't really looking for it. I was just scrolling through his messages. As soon as you started scrolling through his messages, you were looking for trouble. As soon as you slide into his DMs, you're looking for trouble. If you ain't want no trouble, you wouldn't have been looking for that. That's just like me pulling over a cop. I'm asking for trouble. That's like me starting an argument with an ICE agent. I'm asking for trouble. Going through your man's history, going through your man's personal bit, because he shouldn't be going through yours. If y'all can't trust each other, what y'all doing together? This is an exhausting and unstable way to build a relationship. A healthy partner is not a therapist. While they should be very supportive, it is not their job to heal your childhood traumas or fix your damage that your ex caused you. Putting that responsibility on the other person is an unfair burden that will lead to burnout in the relationship and resentment. They'll feel like they're constantly walking on eggshells around your emotional minefield. And when you have certain things going on in your life that are dominating your life, and it's a conflictual thing, the kind of thing that if you got into a conversation with the average person, you'd be talking about the same thing every day, every week, every month. It's a slow progressing thing, like you've got kids, custody court. If that's the only thing you can talk about because it dominates your life, you're not capable of handling anything else right now. Because your partner's not going to want to know the progress of your case. Most of the people around the world don't give a shit about the OJ trial. But that's all the news could talk about until he was acquitted. Now imagine how annoyed you were during that whole trial. That trial was on. If you were in a relationship where that trial was the only thing that y'all could talk about every day for the number of years that went on, you would get out of that relationship. And this is a true fact. Eventually, because of that burnout and resentment, the other person will leave, not because they don't care about you, but because the emotional labor that you're putting them through is far too great for them to handle. And this just reinforces your original wound. You're going to say, see, everyone leaves me. No. The solution is that you're going to turn inward and do the work of healing for yourself. And this isn't about blame. It is about self-empowerment. First and most powerfully, you have to seek some professional help. Come talk to me. I do a lot better than a lot of professionals because I'm not going to prescribe you a drug. I'm going to provide you with a solution. There is zero shame in going to a therapist. There's zero shame in asking someone who's willing to provide you with constructive criticism and advice to aid you in improvement. It is one of the greatest acts of self-love there is. A therapist can give you tools to understand your triggers, process your past in a safe place where they're not going to judge you or resent you. You'll be able to develop a healthier way to cope with the way things are going in your life. And if therapy isn't an option right now, Become a student of your own psychology. Journaling is an incredible tool for this. Okay? Ask yourself those hard questions that the therapist is going to charge you $300 an hour for. What are my biggest triggers? What fears keep coming up? How have my past relationships shaped my views of love? Being brutally honest with yourself is the first step towards changing. Third, consciously reframing your past, because you know that you're starting to heal when you can look back on the past relationship with balance, not contempt. You're no longer consumed by the anger or the grief. You can see the good and the bad. Identify the lessons where you're learning the things that you did wrong, the things that you should not have done, but you also look at the things that you should have done, the things that you did right, that you should do more of. A lot of times it's not just what you did that fucked up the relationship, it's what you failed to do. Because it takes two people, at least, sometimes three or four, to ruin a relationship. But accountability is on all sides. Doesn't matter if it was cheating, it doesn't matter if it was financial infidelity, everyone had a part to play. To be in a relationship where one person steps outside of the relationship was missing something. And nobody put in the effort to find out what it was missing. It was found outside of the relationship. Paying attention to what was missing in the relationship when the relationship started to go south. Paying attention to what's missing in the relationship before the cheating occurred, that allows you to fix yourself for future relationships, to minimize, if not eliminate, that character flaw of your relationship. If you've been in 5 relationships where you were cheated on, you can't say that all men are garbage. You have to ask yourself, what are you not doing that's got all these people cheating on you? Because you have to ask yourself, what is the common factor in each one of my failed relationships? You, not the other person. What did you do wrong? What you didn't do enough of? What you did too much of? And make those changes. You don't always have to generally wish the other person well, but you have to be able to recognize that their life and their existence from a distance should not impact you at all. You have to stop seeing your past as a life sentence and start seeing it as a curriculum. When you begin to heal, you show up to dating as a whole person. Your self-worth comes from within, not from someone else. You can be vulnerable without being fragile and without dwelling on the past. You stop looking for a medic and you start looking for a partner who is also doing their own work on themselves, someone that you can grow with. You're not looking for the finished product. You're looking for the potential that is coupled with the ambition. And ladies, y'all need to hear this one more time. You are looking for the potential, right? With the ambition to go with it, not the finished product. Because the finished product can't benefit from you. But you can benefit from building with the potential and ambition of a finished product that you would be satisfied with. The fourth brutal truth is that you don't really know who you are. You lack a strong sense of self, which means that you have weak boundaries, weak negotiable expectations, and you have no clear values. This is the truth. You become a chameleon, changing your colors, your opinions, your personality to match whoever you're with, hoping that if you're just agreeable enough, you'll finally be chosen by somebody. Fellas, this doesn't work for us. This comes from a deep fear of rejection because we get rejected a lot. We get rejected For every one yes a woman says, a man hears 500 no's. This is truth. And for every one yes a woman hears, she has said no 499 times. Out of the 500 times the man has asked a question, the woman hasn't asked a question. So we have a deep-seated fear of rejection. It's true. We do. As men, we have a deep-seated fear of rejection. But we don't just have a fear of rejection in silence and in private, because in modern 2025 society, women don't just reject the man. They project the rejection of the man to the local environment. She gets loud with the rejection. She gets boastful with the rejection. Instead of just a simple, like, body language kind of thing, she advocates in a fashion where if she's in a crowd with her homegirls, everyone's laughing at you now. So your advancement becomes a public spectacle. This is a deep-seated fear of rejection. And you're going to believe that if you show your true self to the other person, that your real opinions, your non-negotiable needs, and your quirks and your interests will be seen as too much or not enough. And you'll be shut down and dismissed. So you hide it. On a date, you agree with everything. And ladies, y'all know men do this. Y'all want a man that can plan a date, but he can't have an opinion. So he's going to ask you what you want to do, and he's going to do that because he knows that you're not going to get pissed off because it was your idea. You want a man that's decisive, but a man that's decisive tells you what he's going to do, not ask you for permission to do things, which means that you're going to do it with him or not. Women that don't want to be told what we're going to do are going to have conflicts of interest with that, because you want him to choose, but after he chooses, he still has to get permission from you to execute. You're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to be pretending to love hiking when you'd rather read a book inside or play video games. You're going to say that you're open to something casual when you desperately want commitment. Now you're in the friend zone, friends with benefits, all because you're afraid of scaring off the other person. You become a mirror reflecting what you think the other person wants to see from you, not who you really are. Now, the consequences of this is very catastrophic for your self-esteem, because when you are a chameleon, you are walking as an invitation to be taken advantage of. You attract people who will happily steamroll your non-existing expectations. You end up in one-sided relationships or in those situationships because you were too afraid to say that you actually wanted more. This constant self-betrayal builds a deep resentment inside of yourself. You're going to get angry at your partner for not meeting your needs when you never communicated your needs. You feel invisible, but the truth is, you made yourself invisible. You can't be mad at someone else for crossing a boundary that you never set. And when you try to set those boundaries, months or years into the relationship, when the first few months or years into the relationship, you let that pass, it's hard to break habits. And it's a trap. If they fall for the character that you're playing, you live in a constant fear of being exposed. Because if they reject that character, it hurts just as much, even though it wasn't the real you. And then you have this other issue, because if you're playing a character that you think that they want, after a few months, after a few years, y'all get comfortable with one another. You start building the confidence that the partner's not going to go anywhere. You stop playing the role. Now your partner recognizes that you've changed and they are not happy with who you are now. You didn't change. You just started showing who you really are. The person they fell for is not the person who you really are, which now forces you to choose. Are you going to stay who you really are, or are you going to go back to putting on a show? Because if you stay who you really are, you're going to lose the partner. And if you go back to putting on a show, you're going to forever be exhausted. The solution is to build a strong sense of self in the beginning. It isn't something that you define. It's not something that you discover along the way. This isn't Blue's Clues. This isn't Where's Waldo. This is something that you're going to build. So the first thing you have to do is you have to define your core values, your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. You want to take out a piece of paper, and what you truly have to document is what matters to you in your life and what you expect in your partner. Is it honesty? Is it monogamy? Is it ambition? Is it family? What are your absolute deal breakers? And you can't flex on this. These are the fundamental pillars of your life. You have to know what you want to be able to ask. And then you have to be able to ask for that. Just like when you ask your kids, what do you want for Christmas? What are you going to ask Santa Claus for Christmas? In order for them to make a Christmas list, they have to know what they want. You go to your boss for a raise. You have to know how much of a raise you want. You can't just say, hey, boss, give me a raise. Because they'll give you a raise, 5 cents. You ask for a raise, shit's gone with taxation. I mean, think about it. In order for you to ask for what you want, you have to know what you want. Now, the second thing you're going to have to do is you have to practice setting small, low stakes expectations. First thing you're going to do is you're going to have to establish the ability to say no and build that muscle. You're going to have to train that muscle. Start small. A friend asks to hang out and you're exhausted. You know, I'd love to, but I'm totally drained tonight. Can we do it next week? Even if they apply pressure, come on, I haven't seen you in a while. Look, bro, I'm not going anywhere today. I'm going to take a nap, and if I get up later and I feel better, I'll give you a call. But otherwise, I'm making plans with you next week. You have to stick to it. Each time you honor your own needs, you send a message to your brain that I matter and I need to recognize that my values are valid. My needs are valid. Third and most important thing, you have to be authentic from the start. Because if you're the kind of man that wants to be a father, you can't be dating a chick that's like, oh, I don't want kids. Not because there's a problem with that, ladies. It's because if the man wants to be a father and you're 35 and you don't want kids at 41, you don't have any eggs on reserve, so you can't be the mother of his child, which puts him in a compromising position because when you're 41, he still wants kids and you can't have them anymore. And now he has to choose between abandoning his lifelong expectation to be a father or getting another woman pregnant and damaging his relationship with you. Instead, you have to understand that, hey, look, you don't have to want to be a mother right now, but if you don't put some eggs on ice, we're going to have a problem. Because we can do the surrogate thing. There's technology out here, but we have to negotiate how can you have what you want out of this relationship and how can I have what I want out of this relationship? What if the woman just doesn't want motherhood? You have to recognize that if you're striving for a family dynamic where there is going to be some motherhood involved, even if it's shared responsibilities, and she doesn't want that responsibility, that's not the person to date. But you can't bring that information 6 months into a relationship. You have to state your intentions clearly, and you got to kind of be kind and respectful for it. If you want a serious relationship, That should probably be in bold at the top of your social media profile. It's okay to say that you want a serious relationship, a truthfully long-term relationship. You might have to put it in detail that your serious relationship is a marriage-driven relationship. You need to let them know that you're looking for long-term permanent commitment, that you are not interested in hookups, you're not interested in flings, you're not interested in situationships, you're not interested in friends with benefits. If the person that you're communicating with is not expecting a long-term relationship, or a permanent interaction with someone, that is not your interest. You got to be serious about that, because a person who is scared off by your honesty is simply not the person that you need. You're weeding out the bad people, and you're filtering this for yourself. You have to share your real opinions and your real interests. The same way I let y'all can talk different. We don't have to agree. Notice, people will have a negative opinion, and I'll leave their opinion up here on the comment section. It's the people who are inappropriate that I block. I love people who disagree with me, because you have to make it make sense to me why you disagree with facts. The right person won't just tolerate your true self, they will be drawn to it. So when you have a strong core, you operate from security. Rejection doesn't shatter you, because your self-worth isn't up for debate. You become a rock not because you turned off your emotions, and just because you express your emotions, you don't become a leaf in the wind. You will be able to attract other rocks who want to build a fortress of a relationship with you. Now, the final brutal truth is that you're treating dating like a performance. This is something that y'all got to understand. You're so scared of being seen as flawed or boring that you constantly are on. You're putting on a show designed to impress other people. Fellas, we got to stop wasting our time trying to impress these women. If the lady does not want you for your lazy ass Xbox playing ass in your boxers since yesterday ass, still got your socks on from work with your shoes across the room, kind of, she ain't okay with you, bro. She not gonna be okay with you, because one day you gonna end up doing that. If that's who you really are, one day you're gonna end up doing that. And when she catch you, you're gonna have to I wasn't feeling good, and try to put the show back on. You got to understand, guys, you guys behave like this because you think that to be loved, you have to be perfect. You have to be interesting. You have to be exciting at all times. I'm going to be honest with you. After I get off this podcast, sometimes I spend a couple of hours doing absolutely nothing. What relationship would I be in if I have to put on a show for my partner, and I just spent 3 hours on this podcast, and I'm going to spend 2 hours decanting from the podcast? That's 5 hours that my partner is sitting here like, shit, he's about to go live. I ain't going to be able to fuck with him for another 5 hours. You got to know what you're getting yourself into. But by putting on these performances, this is going to create performance anxiety in dating, which performance anxiety impacts intimacy. You're going to craft this perfect profile. You're going to be using these awesome profile photos that's going to make your life look like a constant adventure. You're going to rehearse witty stories before a date. During the date, you're not really listening to them. You're just waiting for your turn to deliver your next line and prove how funny or how smart you are. You're going to shop for partner-based stuff on a superficial checklist, and you're going to care more about how the relationship looks than how it actually feels for you. But this mindset is the enemy of true intimacy. And for one, it's exhausting. You can't keep up a performance 24/7. If this was not who I really am, I wouldn't be able to do this for 3 straight hours without going to the bathroom. The pressure to be perfect creates a constant anxiety, and you can never truly relax because you're afraid that they'll see the real you and they'll leave. If I'm not on the real me 24/7, I'm failing myself. If I could turn off the camera and be this exact same way, there's no stress here. The only anxiety I got is whether or not the internet kicks off. They turn the tower back off again. I'll start it up from the cell phone because who I am is who I really am. More importantly, this type of behavior is going to prevent any real connection with somebody because intimacy isn't built on perfection. Actually, men find imperfection in women highly attractive. So when women put on the fake hair, fake nails, fake eyelashes, pounds of makeup, hiding all of their imperfections, they're hiding the things about them that make them unique. All of the women start looking the same because they bought the same hair from the same hairstylist. The only difference between one woman and another is their height and their shape. But everybody looks the same. Your uniqueness makes you stand out, and men continue to encourage women to go natural. Save you some money and go natural. Because while women like to put on a pound of makeup right before their cycle starts because they break out when their cycle starts, you know what a man sees when a woman breaks out? Is that next week she's going to get pregnant. And that's a primal instinct, which also means that this week there's more intimacy. Primal instinct. Think about it. Think about it. You push your man away when you are the most fertile because instinctively he's more attracted to you during the beginning of your cycle when you don't feel like being bothered. Ask yourself, why is that? It ain't because he's inconsiderate to the fact that your stomach hurt. That is primal instinct. So you have to realize that intimacy is going to be built on the imperfections that you have, but it's also going to be built on vulnerability because vulnerability builds bonds. It builds healthy bonds, covalent bonds, double bonds. Because if I can trust you with my deepest, darkest secrets, if I can trust you with my insecurities, if I can trust you with my flaws, my weaknesses, and you put in the effort to be the strength to offset that, I can put more effort into being the strength to offset yours. So if I'm weak on my right side, you're going to stand on my right side so that nobody tears us down. Right? The whole mentality from the old school that it's phasing out is us against the world. Us against the world cannot happen if we're fighting against each other. You understand? You have to be able to build this level of intimacy in small, unglamorous moments. You have to admit you're having a bad day. Sharing secret fears. Letting your partner see when you're sick. Or just plain be boring. When you're always performing, you're robbing your partner of a chance to love the real you. They might actually find it awesome that they don't have to hunt you down because you are going to be on the couch playing the game. So what they're going to do now is they're going to go to the couch to look for you to come and lay in your lap while you play the game. come and give you a hug while you play the game without stopping you from being able to play the game, because they want you to know that they care about you. They're thinking about you, and they came over here to express that affection with you while you're playing a game. Now, you show respect for their ability to knock out that game, your partner is going to find a stopping point on that game, and they're going to come back and show that same affection to you. But if you go over there and you try to make them turn that game off and choose between you and winning the Super Bowl, they're going to win that Super Bowl. You know, if you want to make them choose between you and that Black Ops mission, they're going to finish that Black Ops mission. You're going to make them choose between you and finding out what the ending is to the new GTA 6. Now, they're going to find out every ending to the new GTA 6. You have to understand, love that depends on a performance isn't real love. It is actually an applause. And applause is fleeting. It's almost like 100,000 people telling you how attractive you look. After the first 5 or 6, it doesn't matter to you. The solution is to have the courage to be authentic and embrace the beauty of the boring parts of the relationship. We don't always have to talk. We can pass each other and not have shit to say. There's going to be times in our life where the most enthusiastic conversation we have is how delicious the total cereal tastes. You have to shift your goals from always trying to be impressive to just being known. She knows what I want. I don't have to tell her anything. But the reason why she knows what I want is because I already told her. And she listened. And she acted on that. And since I'm predictable, my wants don't change. So when I want it again, she knows that I want it again because what I want is no longer here. So she's going to make sure it's here on a regular basis so that I always have it. The first thing you have to do is that you have to embrace your own weirdness. Because I got to tell you something. 41-year-old man on a podcast for 3 hours. Some women are going to be like, oh, that's weird. But we all have something weird going on with us. The things that you think that are your unlovable flaws are often the very things that will make you the right person for someone else. And they'll fall for you for those exact same quirky things. Your quirky humor, your obsession with documentaries, the way you snort when you laugh, these are the textures that make you unique. And the right person will cherish these things. I've actually noticed that a level of OCD has developed in me over the years. And that I have found when I come from the grocery store that I am better than a stock boy at Walmart. All of the groceries are organized. And that is the only thing that I organize in the house is the groceries. And when you look, the groceries look like a convenience store. Meats are on certain shelves, vegetables are on certain shelves, certain things are in certain drawers, snacks are in certain shelves. And you're like, holy shit, you can open a door and take inventory, just stand back and count the rows. And that's the only thing I'm organized with. It's crazy. The second thing that you guys have to do is you have to practice vulnerability in small dosages. And this doesn't mean trauma dumping on the first date, because that's going to make them leave. It's saying, I'm actually a little nervous right now because you do feel a little bit of anxiety on the first encounter. Or I had a really rough day at work today. Just let them know that you might have a little bit of extra stress on your plate. So your tone of voice might not be as calm as it would have been because you kind of haven't detached from those emotions yet. But that tone of voice is not because of them. You don't have to tell them your whole bad day at work. You might have to let them, man, a little bit tense right now because I had a rough day at work. I'm gonna take a couple deep breaths, grab me a shot. I'll be okay. you know? But these small acts of honesty are bids for connection, because eventually you'll be able to tell them how days at work were. But if you had a rough day at work and you're still emotionally attached to it, your first day could spend like an hour talking about how much your job sucks. She's not going to be attracted to that. But being honest about what you're doing and how you're feeling, these are going to be invitations for your partner to move closer, and how they respond to how you feel tells you everything you need to know about them. Because every time a man talks about something and a woman shames it or devalues it, it discourages him from telling her anything else. So while a man won't leave you in a relationship, every time you mocked what he thought, every time you took shots at how he felt, he took that as, I shouldn't talk about these things with my girl. Then, even if he marries you after that, you find yourself in a relationship where you believe that your husband or your boyfriend is keeping a bunch of secrets. He's not keeping secrets from you. You showed him early on in the relationship that you are not the person to tell about this stuff. Because if he tells it to you, you're either going to make him feel bad about it, or it's going to lead into an argument. So to keep the peace between the two of you, because he wants you, but he can't tell you what he's doing, and he can't tell you what he's thinking about, because you are not going to respond appropriately to what he tells you. So he ain't going to tell you. He'll tell his homeboy, he'll tell his mama and them. He might tell your family, but he won't tell you, because you are not going to respond appropriately to it. So every time a man opens up, ladies, y'all have to create an environment, and y'all have to be the ones to create this. No judgment, no resentment, no retaliation. A fella's got to do it too, but ladies, y'all are going to be the ones that are going to ask a question and get pissed off at the answer. And then you're going to attack the person that gave the answer. Tell me I'm wrong, but this is what happens. And as a result, and then here's another thing. This is another problem that get men caught up on a regular basis, because ladies, not only will you ask the question and get pissed off at the answer, if he refuses to answer the question because he does not want the conflict, you'll get pissed off because he didn't answer. So he's in a lose-lose situation. He's either going to answer the question and deal with the fallout, or refuse to answer the question and yet again deal with a fallout. You have to put your boyfriend and your husband in a situation where there is no resentment, no judgment, no retaliation. I guarantee you, he will be an open book to you, because he ain't got nothing to worry about. Oh, I could tell my girl anything. She'll get bad about nothing. But then guess what else you do with that? You put him in a moral and ethical position, because that man will not want to be involved in a situation that he can't go home and talk to his girl about. Now you ain't got to worry about him popping up at a strip club. It's like, man, I couldn't tell my girl about this. I'm not going. I can't. Oh, your girl, you'll be in a situation where, oh yeah, go to the bachelor party. As soon as they have the bachelorettes, go the bachelor party and the strippers and the VIP room and all that, you're like, nah, that's all right. I'm going home. You're going to be wondering why your man came home early. He's not going to tell you why he came home early, but he came home early because that was the best thing for him and his relationship with you. And instead of you wondering why he came home early, you proud that he didn't misbehave and stay out there late. You don't have to know what the hell happened that caused him to come back early, but he came back early. That's what you need to pay attention to. You understand? Then if he feel comfortable with telling you what the hell happened, you ain't mad about who touched him, where, and what they did, but his response to that was he got up and left. Be real about it. Now, the third thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to redefine what successful relationships look like, because a lot of us grew up in toxic relationships and we don't know what a successful relationship looks like. So this isn't an endless highlight reel of all the best parts of a relationship. A real lasting partnership is going to be built on a foundation of comfortable, boring consistency. It's making dinner on a Tuesday night, running errands on a Saturday, sitting together in a comfortable silence. True partnership is knowing someone loves you not because you're entertaining, but because They just love being with you. They love being around you. They love existing in your atmosphere. You don't go places with your partner because they make you. You go places with your partner because you don't want to go without them. Big difference. If my partner asks me if I want to go, no, I don't want to go, but I'm getting up because you asked me to. Why is that? Because you value me so much, you want me to enjoy this with you. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Now, how does that work on the other foot? I asked you to go do some shit that you're not down for. You're going to go. Why? Because I want to share this with you the same way you wanted to share that with me. That's called mutual respect. Men go to operas that they don't like because that's what the woman likes, and women go to mud rallies and stuff that they don't like because that's what guys like. Men will join a book club because that's what his woman likes, and a woman will go to WWE and watch the wrestlers slam each other with tables, ladders, and chairs because that's what he likes. She'll go with him to the NASCAR rally and watch the cars go around in circles for no reason in a hot sun all afternoon, and he will go to a recital because that's what she likes. Mutual respect. When you find someone that you can be beautifully boring with, you have found something real. So you guys have to understand that those are the 5 brutal truths that you're looking for. And this is not going to be just a rescue raft. You understand? This isn't going to be your financial chaos. That is a red flag. This is going to be your dating from unhealed wounds. This isn't going to be your lack of core self, or you're performing instead of connecting, because these are all of the things that we connected today. The thread connecting all of these mistakes and the beliefs behind these mistakes is that someone else is the answer to your problems. And the core message here is that your journey is your journey. So finding a healthy partner begins and ends with the relationship that you have established with yourself first and foremost. So the work that you do to build your own emotional financial stability and to heal your past and to embrace your authentic self is to work on that for yourself. And that will attract a great partner. This is not about just fixing yourself to be worthy of love, because you're already worthy of love exactly as you are. This is just about building a life that is so stable and joyful on its own that a relationship becomes an ultimate bonus, not a desperate goal. It's not the missing piece to your puzzle. It is an added bonus. It is an increase. It is the hidden level to the mastery. And it is about becoming so whole that you can enter a partnership as an equal and be ready to build, not just to take from the relationship and benefit from the other person. The power to change your love isn't on a dating app or in the hands of some future person. It is directly involved in you. You already had it this whole time. The whole show, you had it. You just didn't know it, but you found out about it because I told you about it. It's in the small choices that you make every single day. So here's my challenge to you. I want you guys to commit to taking one small step today, one small step tomorrow, and I want you to keep doing it every week. In the comments today, I want you to share which of the 5 areas that you are going to focus on first. Is it creating your first budget? Looking up a therapist that can benefit you? Writing down your non-negotiable expectations? Declaring those expectations in communication with others? By writing it down, you're not just making a commitment to yourself, you're joining a community of people on the same page. I really appreciate you guys for being here throughout the last 3 hours and having that courage to face the truth. Because this path isn't easy, but it's the only one that leads to authentic, lasting love that you have deserved your whole life and have fundamentally understood today that you've never found. So with that being said, I want to start off by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And then fellas, I give y'all this information to help y'all become higher value men, because if you put in the effort to change the things in your life that you don't like, that you are able to control, then you can navigate around the things that you don't have control over. And ladies, while this is a male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, you too have the capabilities to improve your life by focusing on the things that you need, not the things that you want. Focusing on your future, not your present. Or your past, for that matter. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield. Thank